All right, here we go. Hobson, Hobson, where's Hobson? Turn on some music. Thank you. Oh my goodness, just can't get good help around here. All right, everybody. So it's Monday. It's Monday. It's Monday. There's some news that has come out, and I am excited to just sit back, relax, and chat about it. We're gonna figure out what is going on in this time and space. There's a lot to talk about. So we're going to cover some of it here. We're going to go ahead and break it down. We're going to see what's cracking, and we're going to go from there. Because I haven't been out in a while. I've been stuck doing muggle work, and I need to chat about this. I need to get this out. I need to figure out what's going on, because it's been so many cycles since I've been here. I've had to be out in the real world. I've had to be doing real things. And so now it's time to talk about this. Now it's time to bring it in and to break down what's been going on. Some things from the past are back again. Some things that were promised. Oh, wait. Some things that were promised are finally going to come to fruition. And so we have all of this energy, all of these things that are coming around. It looks like this year is going to be, could be another banger year, right? We have news on ACOLYTE. Everybody's been waiting for this dark series. We have word on another project that's in the works, and we have something that's brought back from the dead. Something that was flatlined, that everybody was sure and so angry about. Everybody was furious about what was going on. And now it looks like that has turned around, and we're back to being excited about it again. I don't know. We're going to have to figure a little bit of this out. So we're going to get in here. We're going to go ahead and we're going to, you know what? Why don't, come on. We got to, yeah, come on. All right, there we go. So now that we're back, let's talk about, let's get centered. There we go. So let's talk about some of the stuff that's going on, right? Again, like I said, we've got ACOLYTE news, right? ACOLYTE news is huge. We have there's some other projects that are running around the rumor mill. Word is that the Ray movie might have some new direction, some new inspiration, possibly. And the biggest thing I think that's going on right now that is that Patty Jenkins is back, and that Rogue Squadron is coming back, and that we're going to get that, that what do we call it? That fighter pilot, that fighter pilot vibe that everybody's been talking about. So there's a lot going on. I know a lot of people are skeptical. There's a lot of grift running around in the world. There's a lot of hostility towards Disney Star Wars still in the space. There's a lot of anger out here, but I'm hoping that all of this is going to kind of, in this year, I mean, obviously you can't fix scars, right? Let's be real. There's some scars that we can't fix. There's some people that are hurt so deep to their core that they're never going to want to watch or enjoy anything that the House of Mouse puts together, right? I mean, that's just end all, right? The only reason they make content is to make money and get views. They don't really care anymore. They don't really care that Disney Star Wars, whether they do good or bad. It's for clicks. And there's there might be passion there, but in my opinion, it's just, not the right kind of passion. So let's I invited some other people in. We'll see who's got the time. I know it's still a work time for some people on the West Coast, and maybe if some of the shift workers are working late on the East Coast, but wherever you are, I invited some peeps to come and check this out, being as there's a couple of the Patty, for me, the Patty movie news, I think, is the biggest thing. I think that's the biggest piece of news that I saw last week, right? Because that movie had a lot of people excited because of Patty's background, because of liking that fighter pilot, that you know, X-wing vibe to it. But again, it is another Star Wars project without lightsabers, right? So there's going to be, I feel like, this Andorian feel to the Patty movie because there's no lightsabers, right? It's all pew pews. And that's what a lot of what Andor was. I mean, the closest thing we got to a lightsaber in Andor was the specialty weapons or defenses, however you want to pick that apart. That was the only lightsaber-ish vibe we got in Andor, and I feel like this could be the same thing with Patty Jenkins's Rogue Squadron coming back and her making this. I feel like it could get the Andorian treatment, unfortunately, and I'd hate to see that because I think the movie is going to be awesome. The woman is an amazing director. I mean, she had some big stuff that she was on the plate for. So yeah, I think I think Patty making this resurgence back to getting this project off the ground, I think is a great thing. Of course, it's going to take a little while to get these projects off the ground, but ultimately, the fact that she's back in it's Top Gun in space. Thank you. Hey, Stanley's. Maximus, Brandon, what's up, everybody? I mean, basically, this is the best news I think of the week. Aside from Bad Batch, aside from the Acolyte trailer, I think is big news. But I think in the space right now, I feel like the Patty Jenkins return to Disney is huge. I mean, it's huge. So I'm excited about that. I think it's a good thing. When she will get this project rolling, hopefully she will not, hopefully she'll hold true all the way through, and she'll get herself into final production and get into the edit and all that fun stuff before she starts contracting other projects. Because we all know Wonder Woman 3, I think that took a back seat. And so she's got open time. She said she wanted to come out and finish this. And we're going to read some articles about that. We're going to dive deeper into that. But just, getting in here and talking about the news, what's going on right now, I think is the bigger thing is that, the big stuff that's on the plate is Patty's back. Acolyte poster dropped today, which looks amazing. We'll go through that a little bit. And then the trailer drop is supposed to be tomorrow, according to Star Wars Twitter and StarWars.com. And then the other little, bits and pieces, there's some Bad Batch stuff. We could go through some Bad Batch stuff. It's completely up to you guys. We'll figure it out. And then there is what else? There's something else that we were talking about. I can't remember what it was now. I mean, I'm curious. Oh, and then the Rey movie, we were talking about earlier, the Rey movie is supposedly getting more and more and more attention. I guess there's more and more. Oh, the Mac Cave. What's up, dude? With Acolyte, I'm interested. New era, not seen before, but not expecting to. Yeah. Look, I mean, honestly, I think this Acolyte thing is going to be great. I think I'm looking forward to, getting to a point where there's some darkness, right? If this, it won't be a rated R, potentially rated piece of content, but in the same breath, it is going to be something on the very darker scale of what we've seen. And at this point with Star Wars, we've seen some pretty gnarly stuff between, in The Mandalorian, they're cutting bodies in half, they're chopping heads off and delivering them as bounty. There's a lot of darkness in that. Talking about the genocide of a people in The Mandalorian. So there's a lot of this content out there already that's a little on the darker side. This is just going to be that master and apprentice, I feel like. Now, I'm not sure. We got to read the synopsis because, again, it's been a long time. This one has kind of flown under the radar for a lot of people because it wasn't getting a lot of news. They weren't hyping it up. It hasn't been, and these are always the shows that, much like The Mandalorian, this show, there was a little bit of news here and there, but it really came out of nowhere as far as the popularity and the publicity that was run for it. I mean, obviously, us Star Wars people were like on it, like, my fat ass on a cupcake. But this is another one of those under the radar, not really talked about in the mainstream. And again, I feel like this is going to be a little darker of a series. This is going to be, hopefully blood and gore and really juicy content that's something different. So I'm looking forward to it, to the new era, to the darkness, to the whole thing. The poster looks awesome. The show, from what we're hearing, sounds awesome. Hopefully I get some of my East Coast brothers to come on in and especially Scotty Hawks. He knows a lot more about the Acolyte because he's been following this with a microscope. But yeah, I mean, I haven't heard let's see. I haven't heard that Headland's series had been reshot, edited into 3 different cuts, with one of them. I mean, look, it would be an interesting thing to have these, so-called Snyder cuts, these so-called director's cuts, these different versions for the different scale of fandom, right? You want to make it so that the kiddos can watch the Star Wars on the Disney Channel, on the Disney Plus, and all that stuff alongside the grown-ups, whatever. But you also, I feel like the grown fans want to see, the darker side of it, and maybe a little more blood and guts and sex and whatever. I mean, it is what it is. We all know, we all know that. So yeah, so we all know Palpy fucks. So, I mean, there's going to be that. Again, I'm curious to see where this ends. I'm curious to see where it begins. I'm curious all around. Again, there hasn't been a lot of hype on this. There hasn't been a lot of noise on this. And so I'm very curious to see where we end up in the grand scheme of all of this, all of this craziness. So either way, it's a lot of fun. It's a great time for me. I feel like, again, I'm a shill. According to everybody and anybody, I'm a giant shill. So it doesn't really matter what I say, but I feel like this is probably some of the best time to be a Star Wars fan. As much as people hate what they call the wokeness in Disney, what they call the not holding true to Lucasfilm and George's legacy, the constant badgering of acting, characters, decisions, whatever, it's easy to judge from the outside of anything. So with all of that, I feel like it's a great time to be a fan. I mean, we wouldn't have the conclusion of some of these shows, right? We wouldn't have, some people don't really care, but we wouldn't have the Bad Batch, which I feel is a great show. I really enjoyed it thoroughly. We wouldn't have the conclusion of the Clone Wars in season 7 with the final season leading to Ahsoka's exile. There's a lot of things that we wouldn't have if this hadn't worked out that way. And I feel like this is a great time. The Tales of the Jedi stuff was absolutely fantastic. You break down the, not only the Ahsoka stories, which basically, took over for the books over here, an adaptation, so to speak. And then, you have that ending, which leads us into the future of that character, and as we got in the Ahsoka show, we got some more of that. But then you get the Dooku stuff, which I found to be the best stuff in Tales of the Jedi was the Dooku stuff. You know, not only the stuff with Qui-Gon and talking about Kenobi and talking about this and that and the other, but the aside from the Yaddle death, which gave us more conclusion and put more another nail in the coffin of the what ifs, right? So, but the Dooku story that solidified it with me is the Mace Windu Dooku mission to the Pikes. That's the one that got me, because that really explains, um, you know, Mace and I just got more out of Mace, and I love that they gave me that bus driving Mace Windu, right? I really enjoy that. So there's so much on the scale for me that I enjoy. Oh, no worries, Matt. Take your time. We're just chatting, man. Like I said, call Scotty. Tell Scotty to get out of the GTA and join us for Hi Maria. And join us, Maria. You're also welcome to come in if you're not busy. You're welcome to join. But yeah, I think there's a lot more positive in the atmosphere right now, as far as as far as the content that's coming out, right? For me, like I said, again, I'm a shill, so take what I say with a grain of salt, with a grain of sand, whatever you want to take it with. But my opinion matters very little in the grand scheme of life. But I feel like this is probably some of the best time to be a fan. This is the best time to enjoy the content. Yeah, I just, yeah. All right. Well, hold on. Let me grab Maria link. Hold on. But yeah, I mean, look, it's there's a lot of positive, and I just feel like I know there's a lot of grift out there. I know there's a lot of hate for the content. I know there's a lot of, Disney is messed up. And look, I don't agree with everything that the House of Mouse does. Let's be real. I keep more of my negative comments to myself, because Disney owns the world, and specifically owns the worldwide world of television. And it's what I do for a living. So I tend to not piss on the House of Mouse, but I don't agree with everything that they do. But I think that there are ways to, much like what Dave Filoni's been doing with the Bad Batch, with Project Necromancer, trying to build this bridge, even though people hate it, even though large, 33.3% of the fandom outright hate it because it's Disney Star Wars and you're never going to change their mind. And then there's 33.3% of the fandom that loves it because it's Disney Star Wars no matter what, because they're like super shills. And then there's 33.4% that are in the middle that are crazy enough, the unsilent majority. And those people are the ones that are really judging the content. Speaking of judging the content, how's it going there, fan? Wait for it. No, you're not ready? Okay. You ready? No? Okay, we'll get to you when you're ready. Hit me in the private. But yeah, look, again, there's about, I look at this like I look at everything. Love, hate. Everybody that loves or hates whatever. There's always split into thirds. It's never a 50-50. No matter what everybody in the world wants to say about everything in the world, it's usually it's not this 50-50 split that everybody talks about. Okay, try me again. Are you there now?
I am. Can you hear me?
Hello? I can. Hey, what's up?
What's up, my buddy?
What's up? No, I'm just getting it out. I had a fun 6-day work week. I walked 50 miles in those 6 days, so I'm not putting shoes on today. That was my promise to my feet. So
nice.
So yeah, I figured, I didn't get to talk about the Patty stuff, which I'm really excited about.
Me too.
Last week, ACOLYTE kind of surprised me this morning with the poster, and then the announcement of a trailer tomorrow. And I'm really jazzed about that because that hasn't gotten
so jazzed.
any news, right? There's no press. There's not a lot of interviews. It's not the usual release for such a short amount of time. I guess they announced June 4th is now going to be the release date. And then, there's all this stuff going on. So I figured, let me call some peoples and see who's got time. And I even sent X-Wing because I know he's a big Patty and Rogue Squadron fan. And
I mean,
I get his input on the Acolyte. I mean, I figure I keep away from the sequels and things like that tend to ignite the fire and hate fire in people. So yeah, I'm just trying to get it out and talk about it because I feel like the only thing I've seen is grift.
Yes.
Like all month.
Yes. I was just talking to X-Wing because we had a conversation. He called me up and he was like, "Oh my God, Maria, I don't know what to do with my channel." Right? Right?
And what are you talking about? He just got a million views on a Helldiver short.
I know.
1 million. I don't care if it's Star Wars or what. Like, you got 1 million views on a short. Why are you complaining?
I know. Well, it's just because, once you brand as like a certain channel,
for sure.
right?
I mean,
right.
Yeah. Well,
and
then, once you brand as anything, it's hard to rebrand.
Exactly. And so I think, that's the crux that a lot of people are in. Like, hey, I love Star Wars. I want to talk about Star Wars. But
speaking of a crux.
Hello there.
Favorite retro gamer.
What's up, Maria?
But yeah, I think that's the biggest. I mean, he's been playing Battlefront all week. Every time I jump in the Discord and he's not.
Oh my God.
He's Battlefronting.
They're Battlefronting.
That's the other news that's out is the Battlefront. The Matt and I were talking about this earlier in the week. I was at work on these days and I was just kind of texting. But there's more negative press than positive press.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. There's not enough positive press.
There's not enough positive press.
The graphics updates, amazing. I just felt like the release cost a lot of that negative backlash, and rightfully so. Especially when you're asking for $40 for something that's old, right?
Yeah, it's a high price point.
I mean, the backlash is deserved on that. But if you get inside the game and you play the single player mode and you do story mode, oh my God, it's like back to your childhood, right? Well, I'm old, so it's like back to my 20s.
Yeah, it's a blast from the past. And look, the launch was really rough, and there's lots of issues still going on with it. Even in the single player, there's cutscenes missing. There's issues.
Yes,
but for some reason, I don't know if I'm in some sort of lucky corner of the galaxy out on the outskirts of
everything
something.
For you works great.
It's just I have it on 3 different platforms. I've put over 26 hours into the PC version alone, and I've been flying through it. I don't get booted. I don't get all janky
all the
and everything.
Issues, yeah.
You know what version actually is great? The Switch.
The Switch is. I've heard that.
But you know what? That doesn't surprise me because it's old tech. Right?
Yeah.
Like Nintendo is really good at the KOTOR on the Switch was great.
Very good.
It was less clunky. Smooth. It was easier to play than any of the other versions. So I feel like that doesn't surprise me that the Switch works great because they're really good at remastering games over at Nintendo.
They are.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about the old technology. It's like they master the old technology better than anybody else.
Yeah. And let's not forget that Jedi Survivor had a huge problem at launch as well. Right.
Yeah.
And then went on to become,
But what things don't at launch? I mean, really, yeah. Okay.
Game now.
Especially the cross-platform ones.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think what made this one hurt the most for fans was that it was the one that was most looked forward to, because the same company, Aspire, which I don't know a ton about them, but their previous releases with Jedi Outcast, Academy, Republic Commando, KOTOR, Racer, I absolutely loved all of them. So when they announced Battlefront was coming, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be great. And the biggest difference between all those other releases and this one is that it's an online game. And that's where the troubles are. But some of the stuff people aren't pointing out is that some of the issues that are happening existed before.
Right.
Absolutely. I still remember that.
Yeah, right. And then we talk about those games. I'm like, oh, they're gold. They're great. They're the most amazing games ever. And now it's literally the same thing handed to us in a better.
And I'm going to come in with a hot take, okay? I'm going to come in with a hot take, but I actually love modern Battlefront games. Love.
So do I. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
they're fun.
I think they really screwed the pooch with Battlefront 2 in the microtransaction drama that went on
I
there.
was there right from day one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But I love those games, and not because I had anything to do with them, but just I love the story. When you went into Battlefront 2 and you got the story, Iden Versio's story was just so great. I thought it was great, and I'll die on that hill, and everybody can come at me. You know.
Oh, I love that story too. I think it's good.
Disney.
Well, and that's, I mean, again, it's the popular, number one, it's the popular thing right now. Not only is it that, yes, there are some genuine people that dislike what Disney has done to Star Wars. Sure. I've always said, like all the movies, everything ages better over time, right? Star Wars has always been more like a wine or a scotch. The longer it sits in the barrel, the better it gets, right? And I found that true with the original trilogy. I found that more true for
The prequels.
for the new for the fans that didn't like it initially. I loved the original trilogy. I saw it in the theaters a dozen times. Each movie, I was there for opening night on all of them except for the first one because I was in high school, right? Like there were certain things like you can't change, but that have aged so well, right? I mean, look at Hayden's return.
Oh,
right?
and I'm so glad to see him get his flowers.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly. Right.
He's gotten so much love, and he was like, "Oh my God, my opinion of my involvement with this franchise has now completely changed."
See, what I really want is I want him and Samuel L. Jackson to do a Jumper sequel.
I want that too, right? I
what
love that movie.
because I love that movie, right?
But you know why they won't, right? Is because you know why they won't, right? Do you? Let me tell you why. It's because Hayden and Rachel,
Right.
and then they're not together anymore, and they don't really
I mean, you could kill her. She's
coexist.
expendable. It's easy. Just bye. She died. They got her. I'm angry. Right?
Yeah.
Make him go dark. Make him have fun with his abilities, right? He doesn't have to be so square. Right?
I think that's just weird. Like that would be
story,
weird.
though, right? Like what a great story. A great storyteller could turn that into a great
franchise,
a great reboot, a sequel reboot. Because okay, well, she doesn't want to be in the movie. Great, they kill her. She's the only thing that held him to like this moral compass, right? Even in that movie, even the original movie, she was like the only thing that was like, here's your morality. Like you're really just gonna steal shit.
She's the mirror character,
right? And so she's gone and dead, and they got her. What a great way! Either that, or you invite her back and make her be the villain.
Yeah.
Right. And then they don't have to work together. They don't have to make
out to the dark side.
They can spit in each other's face and slap each other all they want in the movie, and everybody will be like, "Oh, that works." Right.
That tracks.
It tracks, right? But I think it would be a great sequel. I love that Hayden's getting his moment back in the sun. But like I said, everything ages great.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All this.
I mean, how many people hated the prequels, right?
And how many people praise them now, right? If Twitter existed during the prequels, people would be eating so much shit sandwich. The amount of people with shit on their faces from eating shit sandwich would be amazing because they couldn't get it in fast enough.
Right. And I also got to tell you that I really do believe the Clone Wars did a lot of the heavy lifting for those people to change their minds about those movies. Because there were, there are parts, you go through the prequels and you're like, I don't know about this Phantom Menace thing. And then you're like, TC, I don't know. But then you get the Clone Wars and you get the expanded character stories.
Well, but again, but at the same time, the fandom is exactly responsible for the same shit that we get now. That they sent so much shade George's way for certain characters that he changes his scripts, right? Not largely, but makes alterations, but because people don't like this or this. And this was just during print media.
Yeah. And
imagine how the fandom would have destroyed the prequels now.
Right, correct.
Oh.
I mean, we're having, the social media aspect of this has been a huge factor. There's no denying that. But I also feel like we would benefit from a Clone Wars style series that is set in between maybe The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
that would be cool to see like Kylo Ren dominate because that's what he did during that year.
But there's still time for that. Right.
There is,
Mm.
but I mean,
They
to
might
get the
have to do it.
characters, yeah,
They might
yeah.
have to do it in animated form
Yes,
because
that's what I
you would
mean.
need a voice actor to voice
Kylo,
and
Ray, and
well, not so
know.
much Ray because Daisy's on board, but Adam's not. Right. I mean, as much
just listen,
as much
back
as
the
he
truck
wo-
up, and
but as much as he says currently he's not on
Mhm.
board.
right.
I'm not saying that things don't change. There was a time Daisy
Yeah.
was like, I'm not on board.
Yeah,
That's
we've
correct.
heard it before.
Absolutely,
Right?
She was like, I'm done.
So there's
I don't wanna
certain
go do other
projects that
things.
they're like, oh, you're gonna make my character look more this or that.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
there's more input now. There's not this pissing contest between
Yes.
directors, right?
Yes, but here's the thing also, Obsession, is that I feel like Adam Driver is the common denominator.
Sure.
I think for even people who absolutely hate the sequels, a lot of those people will say, but Adam Driver, though.
It
Right?
he was the most complete story arc in the whole
Yes.
thing.
Yes,
So
he
it-
was.
You couldn't help but love him the best.
Correct. And I feel like
Right.
I don't understand why Disney doesn't see that and just listen, the man has had nothing but bombs in the box office.
Mm.
Almost
See, and
the last duel.
again, I'm an awful Siskel and Ebert because I like the stuff he does.
I'm
Right?
not denying like, but Ferrari was a bomb. Last Duel was a bomb.
That
know,
what was the Gotti one that he did? What was the
House of Gucci
House of Gucci?
bomb, another
mean,
bomb. So
I-
he's
I
had
do-
nothing but bombs.
I do agree that it would be an opportunity for him to not only cash in because he could come at them for whatever dollar amount he
Oh my
wanted.
God, any
dollar
dollar. Yes.
But then he could, like I said, there's not a giant pissing contest going on. There's not a dick measuring contest going on between two directors over the sequels. There's more opportunity to get in and have a conversation.
And here's the thing that I think that is a very much a lever for Adam Driver is the Sean Levy factor.
Absolutely.
Because they're like best friends.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, look,
if Sean Levy was to take over the Ray movie, I think that 100% Adam Driver would be in it.
Well, even for some of these animated projects, just get him in the voiceover booth.
Yeah.
Right. You don't even have to act.
Right. Like, I mean, Adam did the whole we had reshoots. Adam did it out of the closet in his house.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
you know what I mean?
If you're gonna do some of these Ben Solo, right? If you're gonna do some of this Ben Solo stuff or this Kylo Ren stuff between movies, do it. You can do it in the animated stuff. Epic is now partially owned by Disney.
Mm-hmm.
So all of your pre-res stuff.
I got some things to say about that.
All your pre-res is stuff is done in Unreal Engine, so it might as well be done, right?
Yeah.
So because they own the
so
easier now. So get them in the voiceover booth and
spot on.
$100 million because to the mounts it doesn't matter. $100 million to finish out the character, and he'll come back and he can get some money. He can get a W because he needs a W.
He does.
I think he's a great actor. I thought the one he did with
Ferrari.
Was it Charlize or The Divorce?
Oh, Marriage Story.
Fuck,
that was Oscar nomination. I mean, that was great.
That was his best work.
That
in
was
my
his,
opinion.
Yeah, that was with Scarlett Johansson.
I like him as an actor.
The Report, if you remember the Torture Report, or The Report,
he's a good
also
actor.
very good. Yeah, he's a great actor.
That he's got this again negative taste in his mouth because you watch two guys measure their dicks for fucking 5 years.
Yeah, and I think I mean, he was really good with JJ.
Yeah,
he was good with TFA. It tracked for him, and he was really, that's what he expected. And I think that Ryan Johnson came in and just kind of dropped a big bomb and changed everything. And a lot of the actors were not for that. I mean, you got to remember. I mean, look what happened with the character of Finn, right?
Right, exactly.
Oh,
In
it ended
TLJ,
up a
man,
mess.
what a crime,
But
right?
even John Boyega at this point, I think, has said that he would consider coming back.
Yes, he would. Yes,
right?
he did
So,
say
like
that.
I said, time.
He said, "Never say never." That's what he said.
Mm.
right?
But
Yeah.
again, a lot of things get better over time. With the Mandalorian, with these Disney Plus projects that have made the sequels more viable and less vomitable to some fans. Like I said, I look at this like I look at everything in life. There's 33.3% of people are on this side that hate everything that is Disney Star Wars. And then there's 33.3% on this side that love everything that is Disney Star Wars. And then there's all of this space in the middle that has a 0.1% advantage.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's the people in the middle that are neutral, right? We're the separatists. Like, we're trying to be neutral here.
So let me tell you exactly what because you know that I have some insight.
Connections.
You can say that. You can say that. I watch. Sometimes I got to really watch out what I say.
You got your pulse on the vein of Star Wars.
So let me tell you what Bob and I'm going to take it up a notch.
Cool.
Let me tell you what Bob Iger's thinking is.
Hobson, music down, Hobson.
Hobson's my new assistant. I don't know if everybody's caught on, but Hobson's is my new assistant.
I love that.
Continue, madam.
So let me spill the tea. So I think Bob Iger is, I think, Bob Iger is kind of looking to divest Disney Plus and merge it into Hulu.
I've heard this.
Yes,
this. We were talking about this.
Yep.
And one of the reasons that, and I talked to Star Wars Theory about this and gave him the okay to say a lot of the things there. But why he purchased Epic Games is twofold. One, he wants to have a Disney-owned gaming company.
Yes.
And also because Unreal Engine is a big, I mean, you know this. I don't have to tell you twice because you're in the business and in the industry, but a lot of our pre-visualization is done in Unreal Engine. A lot of, for all the films, for video games, not just video games, but for everything is done in Unreal Engine.
John brought a lot of that technology.
Yes, correct. And Unreal Engine is what powers the volume.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't know that. Mm-hmm. And so Bob Iger's like, let me scoop up 40% of Epic.
Absolutely.
And you know what he did? What he did was anybody else out there that had a contract with him for a game in development. This is how it works. And I'll speak a little bit. And your girl would probably know a little bit about this too. Okay. So a company has to have a license to produce an IP.
Correct.
The license is renewed every year.
Correct.
And you have to have the license in order then to fire up a product development project, right? And the product development project is not what defines the money. The money is defined by the license contract. So it's two different contracts, right? And one is renewed every year. And sometimes those IP licenses can be anywhere from 0% to up to 50%, right? Yeah. And so, Disney had an 11% increase in their license holding contracts to all gaming companies that were not Epic Games.
Yeah. I mean,
okay. And so what that does is it forces a lot of these people to go, so now I got to pay this guy 33% because it was at 22%. So now I got to pay him 33% to make this game. Is this game now viable for me? Correct. Am I going to profit from this game?
Correct.
Right. And not to mention that the games that are done in Unreal Engine, then you got to pay Epic a percentage Correct. Of those sales for using their engine. Correct. So now you're talking about, okay, so like, for example, this FPS from Respawn that was recently, cut out, that was a big reason for it. EA is now going, fuck this licensing bullshit. I want to just work on my own IP because I don't want to have to pay licensing fees that are exuberant and, renew everything.
That's
I love Star Wars.
You're on the wrong podcast. Try
Oh, yeah.
again.
I guess so.
I hope you said hello to me. I hope you
I
said
guess
hello to
so.
me and his. But please continue.
But at anyway, so that's what happened. So now the project became unviable. It's not profitable.
I'm the fat version of him. I'm the less. I spend less time in the gym. Please continue.
But that is traditionally what's going on. So Iger is purposely raising the licensing fees, the percentage of licensing, which is renewable every year, sometimes every 2 years, right?
Mhm.
Unless you have an exclusivity license, which
Correct.
EA had, right? For 10 years, they had an exclusivity license. That was golden.
And at the same time, as Disney owns Lucasfilms, they have their own gaming company now. They brought back Lucasfilm Games. So the idea of Lucasfilm Games and Disney's technology, which is the way it's really always been. Disney's always had the best technology.
I mean, there's no discussion on that. I don't care if you're a Disney lover or a Disney hater.
No, I mean, they've always bought the best patents. They've always bought the best technology. They've always pioneered a lot of technology. It's just been the way that the mouse has always worked since the days of Walt.
Yep.
Right. But in this instance, it's different because you own your own gaming company.
Correct.
Right.
And I have to tell you that I really do worry for Lucasfilm Games right now. I worry for all of Marvel Games, all of those, because I feel like Bob Iger is going to want to unify. He's going to want to unify and he's going to say, okay, I'm going to cut all this stuff out and move everything to Epic Games.
Well, I mean, it's a tough swing, but business is business, right?
That's right.
I mean,
it would make sense though, being how popular the brand of Epic Games is.
I mean, Fortnite.
Fortnite alone, just.
I don't think that needle moves until they own more.
Yeah, they would have to.
They need a majority share to ensure that their project
40% is not going to.
40% is not enough. They need another 11% minimum to cut those alarms off, because right now those limbs may be hemorrhaging money making stuff, but they're still making stuff.
They are, but it's all also just. I think for Bob Iger, you know, no matter what, you know how I feel about Bob Iger. I feel like Bob Iger destroyed 8 and 9. He had way too much to say and cut the limbs off of some of. He definitely just railroaded JJ for 9, right? So I don't have a love for the man.
Just bad decision making in not waiting for JJ as a whole for 8, right? Like that.
Yeah. No, they were trying to push everything through as fast as possible.
Well, Bob Iger's responsible for the 2-year timeline.
Right. But ultimately, regardless of what that's what I'm saying is JJ has had his own timelines, as all directors do. I mean, look at what's happened with Patty. Yeah. Right. Patty was gone for a year. Now she's back. Right. Give the director a minute to breathe.
Yes.
Instead of trying to say you're in or you're out. I need an answer now.
Right. And but Bob was probably I mean, he knows his shit don't stink. So he knows he should be a priority. So he feels that way.
Right. But
nonetheless, I think one of the things that I have no love lost for Bob Iger as far as like from a fan standpoint, but I'm a shareholder.
Right.
And as a shareholder, okay, he is brilliant.
No,
brilliant.
I mean, but we come back to this. I come back to this constantly. Hobson, music. Do you guys know who Hobson is?
This is the first time I'm hearing it. I love it already.
Okay. So I am a child. As much as my siblings want to make me out to be a millennial. Right, because of the years, they constantly change the year you were born to make you a millennial, whatever. I am in that exennial, right, middle ground, gray area where it depends on which chart you look at. And so I grew up with a lot of 80s movies, right? Okay. And one of those 80s movies is my all-time favorite. As a child, I should not have been watching this movie. Well, the fact that my irresponsible parents let me watch this movie about a drunk rich child man named
Oh,
Arthur.
Arthur? Oh, I grew up watching Arthur. Yes. Yes, my
Hobson
friend.
is my new assistant.
Oh, got you. Okay. I thought
So
you
that's
meant
why-
Hobson's. See, when you say that, I think of Hobson's Choice. I don't know if
No,
you guys
but
know
this
about
is-
that.
That's why I yell at him, because
That's like a historical thing, right? So
Arthur was
Hobson's
also-
Choice, right,
yeah.
is
Oh,
a
yeah.
term often used to to describe an illusion that multiple choices are available.
Yeah, no, this is 100% a drunken man's butler.
Got
So
you.
Mhm.
Got you.
now
Got you.
when I yell, you'll hear me slur when I yell because I have to yell for Hobson. But that is where Hobson comes from.
Got
Hobson
it.
is,
Let me ask you real quick while we're on that. Do you remember the first time you rewatched Arthur as an adult and
oh
went,
yeah, dude.
holy crap?
Oh
And
yeah.
you're like, okay, this was very inappropriate
This-
for me as
for
a
a child.
6-year-old.
For
Yes.
a child to watch that movie was very
Mhm.
inappropriate. To watch a
Mhm.
drunken man have to decide over money or love, like as a drunk, was amazing. And the second one was equal. And then dealing with debt, like a child
Yes,
should not have been
John.
watching this. Now you might understand a little bit more about me because that was one of my favorite movies as a child. I thought Arthur was hilarious.
I swear we are
Hilarious.
so much more thick-skinned because of the pop culture we grew up with and
Absolutely.
the things we were allowed to watch and like all this stuff. Like it helped us grow. It helped us become what we are.
Anthony gets it.
Anthony gets it.
Anthony gets it. So yeah, look, that's where Hobson comes from. So for all the people that are here that know me, that know this community, that is why I yell in the background at Hobson, because that's what Arthur used to do, is always yell for Hobson. But yes, look, this is an interesting time. Yes, Bob Iger is a businessman. Number one, he is not a creative man.
Mm-mm.
He does not create story. He is 100% a CEO.
He's
And
a
the
control
CEO's
freak.
job, the CEO's job is well, this is what I've been saying about Kathleen for years, and people shit on me for it.
Right.
She is a
Very
CEO.
little to do.
She is the chief executive officer. Her number one job is to make the shareholders and the board
Mhm.
money.
Yes,
They care nothing else. That board gives
and
zero fucks about anything but money.
Kathleen Kennedy has a boss.
Dude. And her boss is Bob Iger.
Exactly.
So
So she's not like she can do whatever she wants. She can't.
it enrages me
I know.
that people don't understand the simple corporate structure,
Mhm.
right? That the mouse owns everything,
The mouse
right?
owns
The mouse owns
everything.
everything. And so, yes, this Disney Plus dissolving to Hulu is a brilliant maneuver.
Oh, it's
Brilliant.
there's
That
gonna
is
be so
why-
many other
Well, that's
services
why we
following suit.
got the Mandalorian movie coming,
Mhm.
because Bob Iger stepped in and said, "Nope, we're not doing season 4 or any other seasons of
what
the
did I say?
Mandalorian.
What did I
Make
say?
it a movie."
What did I say when it came out? That little circle thing that they did at the end, where
Mm.
they zoomed in on Grogu and Din Djarin in
Happily
retirement.
ever after, right?
We're done with TV show. That TV
Yes.
show is game over.
Yep.
From now on,
Well-
they're going to be in a movie or they're going to be in somebody else's show. It is no longer going to be the Mandalorian TV show.
You had precognition to that because
I've seen them do it.
John and Dave were writing season 4 and season 5. They have a full outline for season 5.
But
They
why?
were-
When you can do a 3-hour
Right.
movie.
And it wasn't until Bob Iger was put back in charge that Bob was like, "This is what we're doing."
Yeah, a 3-hour
And
movie.
that's why Bob fired everyone that was related to Disney Plus and streaming
But
in
it's
Disney.
actually a really
Fired
good move.
everybody.
They already own Hulu. They
Yes.
already own ESPN. So why are you having two competing services?
Yep.
We're
Right?
gonna eventually end up. Am I frozen?
Yeah,
You're
you're
frozen, Brody.
What happened?
I don't know, Brody.
And also Obsession. This is why Marvel's Echo was put on both Disney Plus and,
Yeah,
and Hulu.
It offers more eyes. Even if you upcharge, even if Disney Plus dissolves and you upcharge $5, they win.
Yep.
Because they're no longer competing services. There
And
you
then
go.
all the Emmys, down from Handmaid's Tale to The Bear of Today, all
got
the Emmys are on Hulu.
It's an easy transition. People aren't searching. Well, where's it at? Is it on Hulu? Is it on Disney Plus? Is it on they're going to dissolve ESPN Plus too.
I know.
That's the direction we're
Well, they're
going. We were
making a
talking
new
about this
one
on the last stream.
with
It
all the
was that
sports, right?
all these, there's over 200 different streaming services out there, and they're all starting to make this same move. So we're going to
Yep.
see a lot of them dissolve away and merge
They
into
have
other
been.
ones.
I mean,
We're
HBO.
going to come back down to like the big
They
three
brought
again.
they brought in AMC and Discovery and all those
Well,
all
and
those pluses.
HBO Max, or HBO used to be its own thing. Now it's HBO Max when they consolidated this into this brand into this brand. It's no longer, the big companies are going to absolve a lot of these companies.
Yep.
They're going to absorb a lot of these companies in their content.
I
It's going to
can't wait
be
to see
more
what happens
about
when Paramount gets sold.
well,
right?
they're going to start to go back to just licensing out their content, and which is actually really smart. They're going to make more money that way.
Absolutely. Like I said, a licensing contract renews every
Yeah,
year.
but this is it. Either you're going to not pay for the ads or you're going to pay for the ads. Right?
Right.
Like, that's the difference, is you one way or another, you're going to eat the cost, whether it's the cost in time or the cost in dollars. Personally, dollars mean less to me than time. Right? I can make more dollars. I can't make more time.
Correct.
So,
time is a finite resource.
yeah, I still call it HBO, but they call it Max, right?
Bro, that was the stupidest thing I ever heard of in my life.
I agree.
Like, honestly, what is the better brand?
I think
right?
it's Cinemax. I don't think like HBO and Cinemax were competitors. I think of when you say Max, oh, it's not Max, like Cinemax. Shit, they're still around, right? Like,
right.
I mean, after 10 p.m. I mean, you know,
it was Cinemax. But look, this whole business platform. This is why Disney's stock doesn't plummet to $70 a share, right? That's why at their low points they're still at 90.
Yep.
Right. There's a reason.
86 under Bob Chapek.
80. They're bounced right back up as soon as he left.
Bob Iger, 114 today.
How to make money, and
it's
that's
114 today.
And that's his game. Now, I think he has learned a couple of things during his exile that
it's possible.
Maybe control is not always the best plan, right? Micromanaging is not always a good idea. And while he was gone, some good projects get made. He comes back to this nice, lush time, and then he starts to consolidate.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's why the Lando TV series is now a movie.
Look, it's not a bad thing.
No, we want more Star Wars movies, right?
Disney Plus was the platform for television shows. It wasn't a platform for movies. It never was.
Aiming to go back to theatrical releases, which is what we desperately need for all of this.
Look at how much of this got made during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Right. So this is gonna be a weird analogy. But the UFC built their own facility out here in Vegas about right around the pandemic time is when it opened. They in their own fight facility. During the pandemic,
Brandon.
During the pandemic, they did all of their fights there so that they could stay open, right? Because no one would let you in their venues. They are very good at making money, right? Yeah. Much like Disney in this regard. Disney is very good. Oh, we have a pandemic? Okay, let's not shoot a large-scale movie. Let's shoot some smaller shows, right? Let's downscale a little bit. We've got this platform that we're streaming, that we're testing. It's been an experiment the whole time, right? They put all their stuff there. It doesn't do so well, but they get to release content and continue to build during the pandemic. Now the pandemic's over. Now that things have changed a little bit. Maybe we should get rid of that and consolidate it into one app instead of 3.
Give me more movies.
More movies.
5 movies, less TV.
Exactly.
Right? Like that's it. And that's it. And that's okay, because that's business. Like the people that get mad about Star Wars being a business, it's a business. I'm sorry to tell you. It's a business that makes a lot of money for the mothership. Right? And the mothership is the mouse. So
things are very different now than it was during the time of the prequels. I mean, prequel time was, we're still dealing with Lucasfilm, the original Lucasfilm that was its own company. It was, outside of the studio mess, but
it wasn't married to anybody, right?
Yeah, it wasn't married to anybody. So there was a lot more freedom at that point. And kind of backtracking a little bit to kind of come full circle with it is that the bridges that were made back at the time of the prequels with things like Clone Wars, it's not that simple now because Disney kind of put themselves in a mess with how the sequels were handled. So now building those bridges are tougher, and it can happen in multiple ways. Like I think we're already making some really fun connections, even with Bad Batch right now. There's stuff.
Oh, the
There's bridges happening.
It's huge structure.
Yeah,
huge structure.
So
And
I
I
feel
agree
like they could get
100%
there.
with Anthony there. It never netted profits. You're absolutely right.
I don't really even think it was intended to from Jump Street. I don't think
It was intended to just get the Skywalker saga out of the way.
I think Disney Plus was designed because they wanted to see if they could float their own app.
Mhm.
And they did so for a while. They've done so for a while. It may not have been a huge profit, but at least it netted what it had to keep it going.
Might have broken even.
That's
maybe.
what I'm saying.
But it didn't.
If it lost
really.
a little bit, it's a tax write-off.
Right.
Right? Oh, it failed. Whoops. We'll try something else, right? It's not a loss on the books. Not really.
If they would have handled that streaming service more like just like even just don't even call it Disney Plus, like call it the Disney Vault, and just like here's where we kept everything hiding, and like open the vault like they would do every few years.
65th edition of Snow White and
But
things
they
like
do
that.
some really weird stuff though, right? Like you get rid of content you just made, right? They just made, for instance, again, I'm a kid of the 80s and 90s. The Mighty Ducks, their TV show, you can't find it anymore.
It's gone
off the platform. So you
actually what
all of this
Willow.
You spent all of this.
I didn't even get to see Willow.
I know, me neither.
Yeah, like what the fuck?
A year later.
Like why are so are you going to bring that back when it goes over to Hulu? Are we going to get to see that stuff? Or
well, Disney has now purchased the other half of Hulu from Comcast.
Right.
So they own Hulu 100% now.
That's what I'm saying. So are they going to start releasing all that stuff?
I would. I fucking sure shit would. Why? I mean, I own the license.
Again,
I'm not having to pay a license fee. I'm not having to pay. But here's the problem. And here's what people don't realize is that when you put any of those vault movies or any of those shows or any of those things, et cetera, up for streaming, SAG-AFTRA comes in and says you have to pay royalties to everybody.
Again, I mean, if you're cutting a limb that is Disney Plus as its own thing, royalties are a penny in the pot compared to keeping a platform and servers running.
Stanley's like, you didn't miss anything. Willow was terrible.
I heard it was bad, but I still wanted to see it.
We wanted to see the terrible, right, Matt? We wanted to see the terrible.
You know, the train wreck,
honestly,
right?
I probably would have walked away liking it.
I mean, knowing what a shill I am for most things, I probably would have walked away enjoying it at least.
Here's the thing, though, to keep in mind with this transition. As they move to Hulu and Disney Plus dissolves, don't go in thinking, oh, everything's just gonna move. No, they're gonna pull the same streaming service trick of now let's re-release things and it's gonna be on a timetable. So if you can get a hard copy of things, like I have Mandalorian hard copy now. I have WandaVision hard copy now.
And they look better.
And they said physical media was dead.
It's a way better experience anyway. But I'm like, you know what? When it's
no, it's the physical media isn't dead. The devices that play it are. Find a 4K player in your world today.
Right? My freaking gold spun Blu-ray.
And if you do, you'll probably find it in a thrift store, right? Or Goodwill. The only thing
I have my VCR right here.
The only reason I buy PlayStations with the disc version is because it's a 4K DVD player. That's the only reason I do it.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
But another thing, like again, I hate to keep pointing out things that are slightly ignorant, but if people think that they're watching true 4K on a streaming platform, you're out of your mind.
First of all, most TVs don't even do that. I mean,
even if you spend the money, you spend 10 grand on an 8K TV. That truly is an 8K TV, right? You spend $15,000 on a TV, and it's truly an 8K. Your streaming platform
can't deliver you
your little gigabit processing internet is not going to give you a real-time 4K image.
There's no way.
Yeah.
It may
You know what my
Yeah.
Blu-ray player never did to me? It never buffered. Ever.
Not once. Not
Not
once.
once.
but
My gold spun
so if you
Blu-ray.
want to
You
see
know?
the true 4K versions of these shows,
Yeah.
you have to get the physical media, and that's why physical media is still so important. The fact that so many stores and so many places are trying to get rid of shelf space for physical media is the problem, because we as a technology, as a society, don't have the ability to stream true 4K.
Yeah.
No app, not even Netflix. It says 4K in the description, right?
Oh.
Unless you download that movie to your device, that'll take like 3 hours, and then watch it.
Money G, I'm gonna reply to you right quick. I'm gonna tell you.
Oh, well, good. Let's talk about the Acolyte.
Real,
Man, I want to
listen,
talk
if it
about the
isn't
Acolyte.
real
full-
good stories died with Walt Disney.
Can you guys hear me?
That's
Yeah,
it.
we hear you.
So
It's
always a
Disney
question
hasn't
where
put
it
out
first show
good
up, but,
stories since Walt Disney died. So.
Oh, I mean, come on.
As I was saying,
wow.
if it isn't the four horsemen of the Shalakalip,
The
Oh, boy,
Shalakalite.
I am
What-
not
what
part of
shall
that.
you
That's
do
the
now,
three of
you
you
two?
guys.
Maria's not as shilly as we are, though. Come on, let's be
No, I'm
real.
not as
Maria's
shilly.
like she's like, straddling the shill
listen,
grifty.
No. Here's the thing. I don't judge anything before I've seen it. That's just it. Or I've read it. Right.
oh, I'm
But
judging.
you still judge it.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not one of those people who's going to say I can have a dissertation around what specifically I liked, what I didn't, and I don't let that stuff judge what's upcoming. So that's the difference in me. Yeah, I may not be a total shill for everything that Disney puts out, but I also like some of the stuff. I like some of the stuff in Obi-Wan. I like some of the stuff in Ahsoka. Well, those were all the Anakin episodes. you know,
It's why it's so
Total.
important to just experience something for
Yes,
yourself.
exactly.
Well, I mean, look, I've been the champion of don't judge it till you see it from Jump Street. But yeah, look, there's a lot of Walt told some interesting stories. There are some very you couldn't make a lot of those stories today. Let's put it that way. So look, there's a lot of storytellers.
Yeah. But that wasn't KK. I got to tell you, Money, that it wasn't necessarily all KK. I always keep saying to everybody, KK has a boss.
But who look, okay, time out. Who doesn't want to direct a Star Wars movie? Man, woman, child, alien,
I mean, all of them.
serpent man, whatever you believe in.
Like 9 check boxes, check them all.
Like, who doesn't want to direct a Star Wars movie? I mean, yes, 30 men. I guarantee there's 3,000 directors that are men and another 3,000 directors that are women that want to direct Star Wars. Look, it's not that. Yes, Kathleen has a very big hard-on for women storytellers. Yes, 100%. She has outright said it. There's no reason to believe that is not true. However,
but she's also following a trend.
However, regardless of the wokeness of it, however, you're hiring people like Patty Jenkins. If you look at Patty Jenkins and go, "Oh, she's just been hired because she's a woman," dude, you got another couple stories to read, because that woman has some background in some really great directing, and she's got a great background in battle, in aerial photography.
I love that
battle.
choice. Love that choice for Rogue
woman.
Squadron.
I challenge you to find me a male director that will shoot this the same way. The only guy I can think of is maybe somebody that's done like
John
Top Gun,
Krasinski,
Iron Eagle, like all of these aerial photography, dog fighting kind of movies.
Tom Cruise.
I can name like 3 of them. Right, like all those
guys outrun an X-Wing.
Who doesn't want Top Gun Star Wars?
That's what I'm saying.
Right? You know,
kidding me? Like,
right?
Exactly.
And this woman being around,
I love it.
a
I
real
love it.
fighter pilot, not just some
she grew
guy
up
who was
around
a
it.
pilot. Like, this dude was on the flight line. This dude was in legit combat aircraft.
Listen,
It's
just
not
give it to Michael Bay. The camera will be so close to the action you can't even tell what you're looking at.
You know, like
I
there
will
there are
agree.
huge things coming. The director of Godzilla -1, he
Mhm.
screened his movie for Lucasfilm. So, I mean, they are, for lack of a better word, grooming. Oh no, trigger word.
Anthony, you know,
Grooming some future directors and like really big names. So,
but
I
do
That's
we
get.
do
taken
we
out of
feel
context.
like, I mean, in chat, answer is at your will. Do we feel like Patty is hired because she's a woman or because she has done amazing work?
I think she was definitely hired for her work. Wonder Woman, the first one was incredible.
Well, not
Okay, and I really
I
liked it.
think
I
she
mean,
was
they even
hired for her pitch.
yeah,
I think
yeah,
it's
absolutely.
yeah.
Anyone that
Great
watched that
saleswoman.
hype video
Great
on the
saleswoman.
tarmac, like
Oh,
that
yeah.
was all Patty Jenkins,
But
100%.
Oh yeah,
but
100%.
Brought
that's
that to
the same thing that
Lucasfilm
Robbie
as the
Rod did with
promo.
his kids in the
Right.
backyard, right? Like,
You know, but here's the thing also, Obsession is who I don't
Yeah, but
think,
not as cool.
I agree.
right? But who I don't think belongs at the helm is, I'm sorry to say, Charmaine Obaid-Chinoy.
But she's not.
No, I'm talking about of a Star Wars film.
But she's not anymore.
So you guys just
I
put
thought
names
she got the axe.
together of
No,
people
she
who
didn't. Was she
exist in real life, but I don't know who any
No,
of them
she didn't
are.
get the axe.
I thought she got.
No, she did not get the axe. No, she's still very much at the helm of that
That's the
movie.
one that's doing the Ray movie.
That's the
Yeah.
one that's doing the Ray movie, and I just don't think that that's a great fit at all.
I could have.
First of all, she's a documentarian.
I
You
think
know,
Let's be
the
honest,
rumor of
KK's
her-
doing the Ray movie.
Yeah. I think the rumor of her being axed from Matt was in that midst. Remember that like week that went by where there was so many conflicting stories coming out about that movie?
Look,
I
I mean,
think that
I'm
was
not.
one of them.
I'm not a big. Again, you catch me in a trap every time because I'm not a fan of directors that spout their mouth off before they've shot a frame. So I'm not a fan of hers. I don't want her to do that movie because
I don't think she's
she
got the
says
chops.
ignorant
I
things
agree.
like that.
Yeah. Also, she's hardcore activist. Obviously, I mean, you've seen if you've seen her
I don't care about her
documentary films
politics.
about
I give
that,
a
right?
shit about her
But no,
politics.
but it's because she brings those politics into her filmmaking.
I give a
That
shit
to
about her
me is like,
politics if you could tell a story, but at the same time,
she's not good at that.
this is Robbie Rod all over again. For
Mhm.
me, this is all killer, no filler, and you haven't shot a frame, and then we get your stuff, and it's a big pile of dog poop, right? Like the only
Mhm.
salvaging parts of the bag. So
Yeah.
it's that's why I don't enjoy this style of get off the stage, put the microphone down, and go write something.
Yeah, they
Right?
shouldn't
And
be
that's not
promoting
me
anything
saying shut up
until
and
it's
dribble. That's me
something.
saying do your fucking job and get off the stage.
Right.
End of story.
Okay,
Right?
when I got here though, everybody was cheering, like, yeah, we can talk about the Acolyte.
but
So can we talk about the Acolyte?
so let's talk about Leslie, right?
Mhm.
She gets the same shit. Right? She gets
Yeah,
the
but she has
same
the
shit.
chops.
She
She
gets
has
the
the
same
chops.
shit from the fandom, regardless of her chops.
I understand.
Patty
Yep.
gets the same shit, right? Regardless of her
Mhm.
chops. So is the Acolyte going to do one of two things? Is it going to make give the naysayers fuel, or is it going to quiet them a little bit? Or is there a quiet?
Listen, so I just speak for myself. I'm excited about the Acolyte. Number one, I love the fucking High Republic. Y'all motherfuckers can kiss my motherfucking ass, okay?
Both
I know. How can we go back and forth on Twitter about this? But I love the High Republic, and I really thought, what a brilliant idea to create this era that they can play in that doesn't have all of the limitations of the legacy characters and all that kind of stuff. Like, I thought that was brilliant. So I'm excited for this series because of that. But I am also excited because while personally, I don't really like Leslie Headland's comments and what she says and all this kind of stuff, I do understand that she has great directorial, specifically television show running chops. And I feel like she did great with Russian Dolls. I mean, she's done some really amazing work. So I'm excited about that. That I can separate the directing and her skill sets as a director from the person.
Right. Well, and exactly. If I cared about the politics of the people directing or doing any of these jobs, I wouldn't watch anything.
And people
Yeah.
are so sensitive about the politics of creators. I just hope they're as sensitive about the politics of their doctor, their therapist,
Oh, they're not.
their neighbor.
Mm.
Like,
Oh, they're not.
you're so
They're not.
judgmental
No.
because these people are so far out of your circle and so far out of your reach. Like,
No, but it's not
their
just-
opinion's their opinion. Let the material speak.
Okay,
for
but here's the
itself.
thing:
Like,
if
Keyboard
Leslie-
warriors.
content comes out, like, please hold like personal judgments for what someone says before the content comes
if-
out. You're
Mhm.
just acting like a
if
jerk.
Leslie was from Missouri, if Leslie was from some podunk town in the middle of the country, and her father was a GOP activist, would there be the same hate for her making this film? Right? Like, let's be real. These are Hollywood people that are making these films, and people hate Hollywood people. Right? Like the
And
Hollywood
that
hate
at
is a
least
real-
is
Mhm.
enough of a generalization where you're not like personally attacking this person just because you don't want them to do a project. Like,
right.
I definitely remove the creative and what their vision is from a lot of the personal stuff, because I know that if
politics,
like
Yeah.
and any person who really looks at inside yourself, guys, when you're creating anything, bro, you're writing a creative story in 5th grade. You didn't take personal experience and inject it into that story. That's human nature, bro. Like, it just
Absolutely, 100%.
it's going to be a Star Wars driven story. It's going to be a
And-
new era of Star Wars that
And
no
there's
one
still-
is familiar with,
and
and
there's
that
a
is what is
CCO
exciting.
now. There's a
And hello,
CCO
Carrie Ann Moss is in it.
But there's a CCO involved in this now. There wasn't a CCO during the sequel trilogy era, right, of Disney. There is a I mean, not really, not an active one, not somebody that had a face, right? Once George
K-Way
sold
was
the
her.
project, it was pretty well who's running the story group. Now at least there's somebody that knows what the fuck is going on sitting in the creative chair, right?
And the High Republic stuff they've given us so far is fire as fuck, and everybody loves it.
I love it.
Everybody
I love it.
loves it. The
Are
droid in
there-
the video
okay, so-
game, there's not a
yeah.
person in the
Is it going to be
that-
rated R?
Anthony with the rock.
Mm.
Okay, Geode. Okay, I get it. There are some characters in the
Bro,
series
listen.
of books that are like,
Listen,
oh my
bro.
god, why are they there? But the rest of it is, like, can you get through like the cheesy shit to get to the good part? Like I said, I dissect things and I can have an intelligent discussion about what I like and what I didn't.
Sure.
And there's a lot in the High Republic that I like.
People have the biggest misconception about Geode ever. If you actually read the books that Geode is in, every part where he is like comes in, he's like scaring the shit out of people because they don't realize he is just there all the time. Like, and so the other really crazy thing is he's a Tythonian. They went to Tython in the Mandalorian show. Like that, those rock formations could literally be ancient Geode Tythonians. Like, they tie this shit in, dude. They make you want to like it. They do. You just have to open up, man. The High
Listen to me.
Republic is so deep.
One of my favorite
Pause.
Jedi is now Stellan Gaius.
But it's funny. It's
It is.
hilarious.
It
It really is.
listen, like I've always maintained my favorite Jedi is Qui-Gon Jinn. And listen, let me tell you, Stellan Gaius makes it in that list for me. He's fantastic. I love him as a Jedi. He is the best Jedi I've read. He's great. He's better than some of the stuff that I've even seen in Legends, and I'll die on that hill.
Now, are we is okay? So I've heard this last week.
Yeah,
At
let's
least
talk
that's
about
what
the series.
that's what I've been paying attention to. So Acolyte got a June 4th release, is what we're hearing, right?
Yep.
So a June 4th release. That's what, about 3 months.
My birthday is June 2nd. It's the best gift I've gotten so far.
That's a
Crazy.
So excited.
that's a kind of, I mean, that's what Disney's been doing lately. 3 months worth of hype. This show hasn't had very much publicity. This I think has probably had less publicity than Andor did before its trailers, before its posters.
Yeah, but Andor
It's about to
also
kick off,
had.
I think they're waiting for
Yeah,
this
but
trailer.
Andor was easy to promote because it did have an entire movie to like ground
Sure.
it,
Mm,
right? Which is
that part.
Rogue One was a launching pad, so it
Right.
was easy to market that. This has no launching pad. It's got to be harder to market that, so that's got to be taken into account.
So I'm assuming that the trailer is going to be a like 10 a.m.
Well,
Good
they
Morning
gave a
America?
time. They
What-
gave a time. I think it's midnight here on the East Coast.
Oh, well then we might be
do that
watching
for
the
me.
trailer live. Oh,
Where is that?
I
Where's
know.
that poster? They put a time on it. I'm looking.
Have you did you hear about Hobson? Were you paying attention, Scotty, about my friend Hobson?
Your friend with You're friends with Hobson?
Hobson? Hobson. Hobson.
Because I know a Hobson, but he's a famous rapper. We're not talking about
It's
the
not
same
that
person.
Hobson, no.
Okay.
No.
Go
No,
on.
Elstar
Go
Man,
on.
yeah.
It- it's-
Elstar
it's-
Man is
I was
great.
like, wait, what?
no. We'll talk. I told the story earlier. We'll talk about it.
Okay, no worries.
See,
Yeah,
like
I found the
Anthony's name dropping a bunch of High Republic stuff.
Look, a lot of
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
I think
love
there's a
Elstar
lot
Man.
of I
Yeah.
think the reason people are not behind a lot of the High Republic era stuff, a lot of this is because they just haven't seen any of it. Because if it's not in moving media right now, people are not paying
Right.
attention.
I
Right.
think it's a big part of it. Obsession.
So
you know,
I
it's
think
like
when they get a
There's so
taste
many
of
people
this,
that read
I
books.
think book sales go up. I think comic sales go up. I think more people are going to be interested in it because you're going to get to see what they've been working on. So
oh, there
Matt
we go,
Cave
Matt.
says, as revealed by Star Wars, the Acolyte first trailer will drop
Aw.
at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Oh, but
Yeah, I
I
gotta
have
wait
a
till
meeting
11.
tomorrow. God
Let
damn
it
it!
be known. We will be doing a morning stream.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm gonna be
boy.
muting people at work. I'll be like,
Yeah.
hold on a second, I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Give me 8 minutes. Give me 8 minutes. I need 4 minutes to watch trailer, and then
And
I need
3
4
minutes-
minutes to tweet about it.
I need
Yeah.
3 minutes to process it, and then I can get back to work. That's great. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna. Yeah, I mean, even if it's just a short, even if it's a reaction short, there will be something tomorrow.
Sweet.
That's great. Look, I'm excited about the Acolyte. I think this whole idea of dark side, give us a little bit of the other side, is amazing.
Mhm.
This is what people have been clamoring for. I can't see them launching the High Republic era in this median without it being good.
I have a concern.
Do you really?
Yes.
A lot of people do.
Well,
very, very, very.
my concern actually stems from the story of EA's Battlefront 2,
Okay,
That was-
now you're talking that's me.
right? So that was marketed as a dark side story,
Hmm.
and
Mhm.
within a couple of missions, you
I didn't
defect
flip.
from the Empire
Yes.
and you go to the rebellion. So I'm like, oh my god, are they about to do this with Acolyte, telling us we're going to be in the dark side and we're going to have these Sith and we're going to do all this, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm a Jedi now, and I'm like, damn it.
I hope not. I
I
really,
hope not.
I really want to see.
We were not.
I really want to see some Sith training, man.
Yeah,
I
wanna
really
see
do. I really want to.
I'm
deep.
excited about that.
Like,
Yeah.
I know it sounds a little morbid and dark, but was it SOTOR that you went to Sith Academy and you
Uh-huh.
learned all the fun
Yep.
different
Yeah.
methods of Sith torture and stuff? Like, let's get
Thank
to
you,
some
Brandon.
of that,
Mhm.
right? Like,
Yeah.
let's see some of the mind effects, the multiple apprentices. Let's see some of the Plagueis mind fucks going on in the
Yeah.
early days. Like, I
Yeah.
want to see some of this.
Right. And I think the problem with that also obsession is that there is a safeguard. So like from the story group side of the house, there has been a safeguard to the rule of two.
Right.
There's a large protection around the rule of two because it's so centric to the original trilogy and the story of the prequels, especially with Darth Maul and right. So there's been a lot of protection around that.
I hope
And
they
so,
obliterate that shit.
well, that's what originated the idea of going into the High Republic.
That would make it so much more fun. Look, I just want to see
Well,
some
I think
stuff
So-
on Sith
I
crime. And
think
what I
if Star Wars continues to be a never-ending story, that's inevitable. That there will be
Mhm.
more than just two Sith. Like there
Nope.
has to be a reverb, like
Mhm.
Yeah.
push pull. So
I
it'd be cool to
you
see it
know,
all come back around.
I would, I don't think it's any surprise to anyone here, but I'm a big Legends fan. I mean, Scotty, I've read thousands of the Legends books.
Hush your mouth.
Right? And I would absolutely die to see a live action version of the one Sith, bro. Oh,
Well, and
Like I think they should go back to Tenebris. Like
Oh, yeah.
don't Plagueis shouldn't. I mean,
Yeah.
they need to do the full transition from High Republic through all them Sith Lords that led to
Darth
Palpatine.
Vader.
well, but
This could be multiple. Well, I'm saying in this era, like this
Yeah.
could be multiple seasons that give
Yeah.
us young
Well, it
Palpatine saga.
it should be.
Like-
It should go from the Sith Academy. It should
Mhm.
go. I mean, in all
Korriban. Yeah.
in all hope.
Well, so this is
Not only
we're
Korriban-
messing up timelines, are we
Mhm.
not?
yeah.
No, we're not.
No.
Old Republic is before High Republic.
No, I know. Yeah, but what we're saying
So
is we should. I think what we're saying is that we should go through the Old Republic with all the large
Well, eventually I think
battles
we will,
of
but
Sith
with
versus Jedi, and
respect
then
to the
So where-
because
Acolyte, though.
where
because the High
exactly is-
Republic exists after Darth Bane.
Like,
Right, and
we're
that's-
talking
that's
tens
in
of
front,
thousands of years ago for the
Yeah.
for the Old Republic.
For the Old Republic, yeah, but Acolyte's High Republic, right?
Right.
So
So
are
we're
we
only
at-
going to see. Sorry, I
Like,
keep interrupting
It's okay.
Obsession.
200
But we're
200.
only going to see the family tree
Yeah.
from Palpatine all the way up to where the High Republic, and we don't know stuff. Like we could meet a master that taught Tenebris. We don't know.
Right.
So where exact? Okay.
Are you talking about Tenebrae or Tenebris?
Yeah.
I'm talking about the Sith Lord who is named in the sequels as one of the fleets, and he's also Plagueis's master
That's
Right,
okay.
Tenebris
That's
in
Tenebris.
the book. Yeah.
Tenebris.
What do I keep
so
saying?
Tenebrae is old. We're talking like 5,000.
Yeah, so I guess
right?
that's where I confused everybody.
Yeah.
Like I'm talking
There
about
we go.
the Dark Lord, Master Apprentice, that transition of power all the way down.
Yeah.
Where
So,
did it start? We're gonna find out. Like
Yeah.
we're
No
gonna be
matter
at the
where
top
we
of the
end up
echelon.
in this series, we are at a rule of 2.
We
Yeah,
will
we
see how
are.
that became.
Or are we going to get
I
Because
think-
Darth Bane was 1,000 years before the prequels.
right? So is
And
that where we're
Acolyte
at,
is
or are we at
200,
300?
anywhere
Yeah.
from 200 to 100 years before
Okay,
the prequels.
so this is a master.
After the rule
this
of
is
two,
the
yeah.
rule of 2.
Let me frame it
Mm-hmm.
like this. I think we are going to see ruins of Bane's era in the
Mhm.
same vein that we saw the ruins of the Zepho in Ahsoka. It'll
Well-
be probably about the same age. Get 800 years or so when
Mhm.
Bane was at, like, right? Am I
Yeah.
wrong?
I want to
We're
see
talking 1,000.
Malachor.
Okay.
If
That would be
if
sick.
if
This
we,
is some stuff.
So here's what I know about
Was that the High
protection.
Republic Jedi?
So
I mean, it had
Uh-huh.
to have been, right?
But,
I mean,
so what I know about the protection of the
bodies
rule of
are
2
still
comes
there.
from the work that I did with Jedi Fallen Order, right? Like there was a lot of that in there. And
Because there's
so
a lot
what
of history in that.
yes, and so the protection of the rule of 2 was something that the story group is very adamant about, but what they wanted to do was take us back far enough where there could be hidden
multiples.
sects of Sith, but
Mhm.
still adhering to that rule of 2 for the ultimate.
Well, right.
ultimate
Okay,
evil,
so
right?
so it has always been
Mhm.
a hunt for one another, right? So all Sith were hunting other Sith of power because they felt like they were robbing
Malachor
from the
from the
pool.
rebels, Stanley.
Maria,
I'm
so
pretty sure.
let me ask you a question.
Malachor is from Rebels, yes.
Mhm.
Are we going to see that the rule of 2 somehow sustained from Bane
Yes.
through the High Republic?
It has to.
Hidden,
Yes.
hidden the entire time,
No,
bro.
no,
Like,
there. Yes,
millennia.
yes. So there's different.
them just
so
passing the knowledge
Just think
down.
about this. The rule of 2 is
Damn.
really centered around a master and apprentice. An apprentice to crave power, a master to have the power, right? So like, and so how do you get to become that apprentice? I think that is the story that's going to be shown in the Acolyte. It's how you get to become the apprentice. So it could be, and I'm going to say this, and if it does turn out to be true, come back at me and praise me and call me, oh, Maria knew it, she called it. Okay. I think we are going to see Plagueis in the
Same.
Acolyte. Yeah.
100%.
it would be.
It would be
And
at
I
the
think
end.
he's top dog.
I hope they don't fast track it.
See, I don't know
I
about
hope
that.
It's
I don't know
like
about
that. They gotta take their time.
2-3 seasons.
I don't know about that. I
Mhm.
don't know if I don't know. I mean, if Plagueis is the string puller the entire time, then this story is all about the Battle of Apprentices.
And it could
Right.
be. Right.
Like
It
this-
could be.
this
We may
is-
even see a very young Palpatine.
But that's
in
what I'm
that
saying.
series.
If this is the story of Plagueis, which would be awesome,
Matt
which is the
Smith
shit
and
I've been, which is the shit I've been yearning for years, right?
Mhm.
Is somebody said it in a tweet, I think, but they said, I hope the last frame of the Acolyte at the very end, no matter how many
Of
seasons
the
it goes,
series. Right. Right.
is I'm tired, or I'm what did they say? It's like basically his end quote before Palpatine kills him. Like, oh, I'm bushed. I'm gonna go.
from the Darth Plagueis novel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's the
He's
first
going
line
to sleep.
is
Yep.
Killed him in sleep.
I'm exhausted.
That's it.
I'm gonna go take.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to sleep, and then
I remember it.
So, look, if that's the last frame of this, I'm in it to win it, because I want to see all the blood, and I want to see Palpatine murder his whole family. I want to see I want to see the Battle of Apprentices, where these two figure out that Plagueis has been playing them like a couple of bitches
Yeah.
to figure out who's more sick to
Mhm.
be his apprentice. Like, I want to see all of this. I want to hear the conversation that Plagueis has about the Force striking back at him for his basically his unnatural acts in trying to manipulate the midichlorians that creates Anakin. Right.
Yeah.
I want to hear these conversations between the two of them. I want to hear the argument between Force essence transfer and midichlorian manipulation. If this is where we're going with Plagueis, this is the shit I need. This is the shit I need. I need it.
Look at over here.
I need it. I need it. Right.
The stuff I would love to see in this too is like, because I remember one of my favorite things of any time we've actually gotten a taste of the Sith culture, which has mostly been in books and games. They have this whole thing about archaeology. Like, you could do some like flat out Indiana Jones type stuff with this.
The
with these
Dr.
stories,
Afra.
right? Because they're always looking for the tomb of whoever. They're looking for an artifact that some Sith Lord was attached to, and in some cases is quite literally
and that's
attached to
Bane's
it.
fault.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's
Yeah.
Bane's fault, because Bane took out everybody at once,
Yeah.
and all of their shit got lost.
Yeah.
Anybody
I mean-
who was building anything anywhere was now like, no,
Obliterated. Yep. No.
like, we don't know
Yeah.
where it is. There's no maps.
And-
That dude's dead.
And
Check
the other
in.
thing that I would, I don't know how many of you guys know this, but Darth Plagueis was connected to Sifo Dyas. Do you know who Sifo Dyas is?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, from Jedi Fallen Order, right?
Mhm.
And so that Jedi Master came across Sifo Dyas. So there's like connections in that sense to the Jedi series story of the video games, right? And I'm interested in seeing kind of like, it would be amazing to see like a young Palpatine, like teenage Palpatine coming up and like just having him fight all of these people. Like eventually sometime in like season 3 of the Acolyte, this is where we go, right? Where like they're fighting people and just, Palpatine dominating as like this young Sith,
And I want to see him get to a point where he hates lightsabers, right? Because it was always known that was his thing. He thought they were
useless.
Useless, right? They only use them when
Why would I use a blade when I have the Force?
Yeah, exactly. And so I want to see that moment where he's like, like just lets himself go, right? Like there's so much opportunity.
Yeah.
There's so much opportunity to lead us in. Like, I hope they rope-a-dope the shit out of the fandom. I hope Leslie rope-a-dopes all these hating motherfuckers.
I know. I want to see
right?
everybody go, well, damn.
No, I want to see her I want to see her truly like draw in this idea that it's going to be a shit show, right? Like, where does this connect? Why are we following some young woman that wants to be
Right.
an apprentice, and then I would just want to see Palpatine gut her like a fish,
Right?
right? Like I
Yeah,
want them to
like
be like,
last season,
right?
last episode.
Star Wars. This chick sucks. Why are we following this? This is the main character. Fuck this shit.
And then I want him to just take over the whole story, right?
Yeah.
Right? Like just
Yeah.
come in, kill her
Yeah.
off, become the new apprentice, and then watch all of the jaws drop. Like,
And we see Darth Plagueis
and we
like
see
last
Plagueis and
last
Palpatine, and it's
episode,
like,
right?
oh shit, that's what this has been the whole time. Like, that's what I want to see. Because I love nothing more than shit sandwiches.
Yeah.
Right?
Because it's all in the name, right?
You
Hawk,
eat,
I mean,
you eat pieces of
name.
shit for breakfast.
You eat pieces of shit like this for
Right?
breakfast, right?
you
Like,
know, it's all in
Yeah,
the
dude.
name. If you think about
Love
it,
it.
right? It's all in the name. The Acolyte.
yeah,
They don't say the Acolytes. They don't say
right.
Sith Acolytes.
Right.
Mm.
There's no S in there.
Well, and like I said, this is, if you're going to show the darkness, like what a great story to tell of the Plagueis. What a great adaptation to make, right? You made the Ahsoka adaptation.
And I gotta
took
tell you, Leslie is a huge fan of that fucking book.
that dude, if that's where she's going, she
Yeah.
is going to make so many people
Mhm.
eat their words from when she got hired, because all I heard was
Mhm.
one other woman in Star Wars that doesn't understand Star Wars. When you
It's
get
that
another-
woke bullshit.
that won't bullshit. If she comes out with a bloodbath of a show, I am going to love it,
Okay.
because I am so over the idea that she can't make a bloody show. Right? Like I want that Plagueis. I want to see it. I want to see him done
Oh,
right.
dude. Oh my God. I love the idea you have, Ops, of like that being like the series finale, right? Series finale, and we see Palpatine kill Plagueis. That would be
Dude,
Mic drop.
even if it's we don't get to see
You know,
the knife, we don't get to see the action, even if it's like just him opening the door, you see
Implied,
Plagueis
right?
in bed, and then he closes the door and it cuts scene.
I'm gonna try to
That's
blow you
enough
guys'
for me.
minds here.
Please blow away.
well, you
This
know,
is-
they did change
Wow.
the
put it
timeline,
that way.
right? They did change the timeline
yo.
of Obsession. They changed the timeline because first, remember they said that the Acolyte was going to be set 200 years before,
Yeah.
and then they brought it down to like 100 years before.
And 100 years is doable.
Yes, because 100 years is where Plagueis lives.
Well, and Palpatine, nobody really knows how old he really is.
Yeah,
Right?
well,
Like they-
exactly. We could have been looking at a damn clone
Well,
the
you
whole
never know,
time.
but you could have been
Mhm.
looking at a 100-year-old man with Sith magic, right?
Right.
He knew Mother Townsend. She was great at giving people,
Yeah.
youth and life. There's no reason why she couldn't have took a couple years off.
And
Yeah, you
I
got
got to
extra
give it
guys
to the
and
man
continues.
that the progenitor
Mhm.
of essence transfers who lived 1,500 years, right?
Well, and that's the argument, and that's what
Yeah.
I hope this show becomes, is the
Yes.
story of Palps, because I think that's
I love that.
a story that I think, and I say this a lot, but I think that's a story that all fans could get behind, right? Like, yes, it's made in the Star Wars Disney era, and I know everything Star Wars Disney is crap, but at the same time, this could be a really liked show by the masses.
Dude,
right?
how
'Cause
many- like,
Palpatine
how
is
many
everybody's
people
buddy.
love that book. That book is
I don't know a
weird.
single person who doesn't like that.
I've never met a single person who doesn't like Darth Plagueis.
This is how I want season
Go
1.
ahead,
to
Hawk.
end.
Oh,
She's
here,
got to. She's got to.
you
She's got
have
to share my screen.
control. You can add it.
No, I don't think I do.
Yeah, you do.
Nope.
Really?
I'm not logged in.
Oh, that's right.
Oh,
This
that-
is
yeah,
how
that'll
I
do it.
want the
I was gonna
first
say, you
season.
have-
Oh,
You want the moment.
Because there's you guys have you been following Obsession's channel for a while? He's reviewed the entire Vader comic, and this is a flashback. Charles Soule's never really confirmed when this happened, but if this is a Sith that they find doing crazy shit this whole time on his own, like he learns this from a young child, this random Lady Shah shows up and finds him one day. So there's another Sith Lord that's just out there during the High Republic. If they show any of these flashbacks and they give us Momin, who also shows up in Vader's future timeline coming through portals, like this right here, season 1 sold. Everybody's going to be on board. There's not
Yeah.
one person out there that doesn't like what Charles Soule's making, and it's this is the perfect opportunity to bring something he's doing, dude.
Charles,
my God.
Charles Soule is like the best man. You don't know Charles Soule. His stuff is
These
so good,
Jedi
bro.
right here all just
Bro,
show up
just
in this
show up,
random
right?
flashback. Take
Yeah.
him out.
We do
Oh,
know
man.
Palps is a ladies' man. Yes, we do, Moni. Confirmed. by
Yeah,
the
And this is Lady Shaw right here.
Palpy
Ian
fucks. We know
McDermott.
Palpy fucks. So I mean, it's the thing, you know.
I mean, don't they look like they're wearing High Republic type?
And
Like if you were a Sith, like,
Mhm.
come on, man.
The
Come
fine
on.
threads, Hawk. The fine threads.
Come
You know.
I
on.
mean, look, it's
There's gold in them shits.
they're going to that hill. Get the big
Anyways.
backs.
Yeah, that's where my hype's at. It's all the little connective things they can do because
that's-
now we can get Easter eggs. No offense, like the OT Easter eggs have been super abundant, but now we can get the little comic book Easter eggs of all the shit they've been writing for what 2-3 years now.
Easily more.
And
Before
then,
COVID, more.
and then
Yeah.
for my side of the house, I just want them to give me the rights to do the Acolyte video game.
Yes.
I mean, look, Maria, I don't know how much the shutdown of these games has affected your livelihood, but
Yes.
then we need to talk about a partnership because I've got a couple of you know me and my ideas.
I
But-
do. know.
I've got another one. I'm actually trying to schedule a meeting now with. I don't know if you guys ever heard of the Void.
Yes.
The Void was a place here in Vegas. They were in They were in MGM Grand. They have a little boardwalk where they have little shops and stuff as you walk into the Grand Garden for the fights or for the concerts and whatever. And basically, it was a VR experience where you put on a VR helmet and you grab a weapon, so to speak, and you look at your body and you're a stormtrooper.
Sick.
And you're in this scene walking around a giant room in VR with your three pals, and you're squatting up to go
Man,
accomplish
it's just
this
like
mission.
zero BBY.
It's like zero BBY all over
Don't
again,
forget.
right?
Never
So,
forget.
what I'm trying to reach out to them because they already had the technology of immersion,
Yeah.
and their technology with my story and my ideas for that kind of thing, because that's the direction that gaming's going. This Apple, I don't know if you guys have seen this Apple Vision Pro.
Oh, I saw some
This
stuff.
shit is have you seen it in person?
No, not in
This
person.
shit is amazing. This shit is next level. I'm not kidding. This shit is next level, dude. I put the Oculus, I put the PlayStations and all that shit. This is next level, dude.
Mm-hmm.
The things you can do. I might get one.
Yeah.
I might get one for my partner because she spends her day in the computer, and if she could,
We're talking Minority Report.
thank you. It's my Minority Report. Click, 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 like
Swipe,
Dude.
swipe left, swipe right.
fucking insane, and it looks amazing, dude. And it's AR. It's not just VR. It's AR.
Alternate.
Yeah.
Right, so you can see, like, you see these assholes with this thing walking down the street, and you're like, they're gonna hit a pole. No, dude, they're not gonna hit a pole because it's AR VR.
Yeah.
Is anyone afraid that we're like
Yes,
two we're like 2 steps away from that movie Wall-E?
Yes.
Oh, we're real close.
We're just
Dude, what are you
floating around in
Well,
chairs with screens in
So
front of us.
About a step and a half.
because I am
We're just fast tracking it.
I'm in the industry, so I was part of the FPS, the Respawn SPF story group, and so that got canceled. There's a lot of contractors that were canceled. So,
well,
but-
good. If you know any Unreal people that know how to operate the Unreal Engine, send them my way.
Okay, I will try to do that.
Yeah.
They're expensive.
I know. You know.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know a couple, but they're busy on
That's
Disney-
my biggest problem is the lack of resources
Yeah. Oh, I
this
know.
industry has, where people are, we're
I-
putting 70 plus hours on our people.
I tell every person that I know that has
Get into that field.
I tell every person I know. Does your kid like games? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Send him to school to learn Unreal.
Yes.
That's
Tell
the
them
future.
Unreal Engine is absolutely going to dominate. It's going to
But it's not
sunset
just
Unity.
gaming anymore. It's
Yeah.
commercials.
It's all
It's
kinds of
Yes,
stuff.
it's
Yeah.
all kinds
any
of stuff.
editing.
Films.
It's any previs. It's any
I mean,
production.
it's out there to
so
download.
good, Obi.
Dude, they use it on. There's this show, but not Behind the Attraction. The way things are made. There was another one, things that shit you like from the 80s and 90s,
Yeah.
right? Their whole background, including all the little things in
And that was 15, 20 years ago.
exactly.
Right. So
Right.
you can imagine what that's. So here's the thing. I don't know if you know this, but we have moved from it being only previs for Unreal Engine to actually,
Oh,
it's in the movies.
it's yeah. Oh yeah.
Finals.
I was watching
Finals.
something today. I didn't know this, but 300.
Yes.
The entire movie of 300
Is on.
minus
yes.
one scene
Yes.
is all
Yes.
shot on green screen.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Every scene except for the
Is
horses
all CGI.
coming over the hill in slow-mo because
Yep.
they couldn't get the horses to run fast enough in the studio without being freaked out by the walls.
Mm.
So they had to go to the desert to shoot one shot. So
Mhm.
99.9% of that movie was done on green screen. And that was what, 10 years ago?
Yep.
Right? 15 years ago,
All
maybe?
thanks to George Lucas.
Oh, further back, man. I mean, I know personally, I have sketches of the first green screen patent in this house,
Hmm.
Oh, that's awesome.
like from Walt, like from the
awesome.
days that they were given to Walt. Right? Like there's some
Oh.
weird shit in this house that
Yeah.
that
But
I was
don't-
blown away about.
I,
But
I will tell you that you should not get too invested in VR AR
oh,
because we're now advancing past that.
I'm sure we are. I'm just saying if
Yeah.
you look at Apple Viz Pro,
Yes. No, I get
that is another level of AR VR.
yes,
Like,
yes, absolutely.
That shit is Back to the Future.
It is. It's
Uh,
just really expensive for your everyday user.
It's expensive. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, what the Vision Pros are like $3,500.
Mhm.
I mean, they're outlandishly
Like the
expensive.
HoloLens.
But
Yeah.
there was once a time where DVD players were $1,000.
Yeah, that's just
Now I use one as a coaster in the garage.
Oh, much to Matt's dismay. You are breaking Matt's heart right now.
So you know what I mean? There's
I'll play you later. Don't
tech-
worry.
technology moves in such a rapid pace these days that Apple once the engineers had that, like if you watch some of these disassemblies of these devices when they get released, those
Yeah.
are some of my favorite videos of these guys going, I got to know how the fuck they did this. And then they take it apart and they're like, how did you do that?
It's MacGyvered, right?
It's like, what? How?
MacGyvered.
It's amazing. And so,
Bro, but what about Exegol?
I mean, isn't that already?
It's like, and I'm out.
Isn't
No,
that
like
already?
really, like you guys are talking and everything, and I'm just like, bro, hold on.
But isn't that already that's already been set up in Bad Batch? That's I feel like that's
Set it up even more. Give us even more hints. Like,
Yeah, they could go
maybe
deeper
give
into
us
that
some
with
Plagueis shit.
Acolyte.
Like,
well for sure, but I think that goes back to the
I don't think Exegol was standing during the time of Plagueis.
well.
From what
I mean,
I
it's
know
there
from
now,
that
though.
timeline.
I mean, it's there now.
I would
though.
say
It's
yes because
today's
it's more of a
timeline, yes.
Sith cult
Well,
than anything else. So
Mhm.
that whole structure, that whole underground structure that he was in looked old as fuck, right?
but
that was
very
Batman
like
stuff.
like that. So I would say
Yeah.
it would be awesome to see Palpatine discover Exegol as a young man, right?
But we're talking
Mhm.
about the Sith have been hiding this whole time through the High Republic, and the High Republic Jedi are just now figuring out, or the Sith are just now emboldened enough to make the next steps. Like
Yeah.
we're in that time frame
Mhm.
now where they could all just be chilling on Exegol this whole time,
Well,
building their power.
And are some of them having to be
They got to be
sacrificed?
somewhere.
Are
Yeah,
some
I
of them
mean, they're gonna
That's what I'm
sacrificed,
saying.
right?
If we're
Like,
getting this whole "I
'cause-
am all the Sith," like I think we are going to see the "I am all the Sith." Like,
well, but that's just it. Is as not like look at what Plagueis did. Plagueis had several apprentices that eventually confronted one another and battled to the death.
Mhm.
At some point, you have to sacrifice a couple of apprentices to the Jedi, right? You have to.
Well,
You have
venomous, etc. Right?
right. You just got to kind of throw a bone to keep them off your trail, right? Like, oh, we right. Meanwhile, they're in the background laughing. You know,
yeah,
like
It's-
exactly.
that's
We've
got to
seen
happen,
the Sith.
and that's I want to see it.
Yeah, we've seen the Sith or not seen the Sith because they've been in hiding multiple times. They did this during the Old Republic where the Jedi thought they were gone and all of a sudden, boom, they're back and they do this. And then even Phantom Menace, what Darth Maul says to Palpatine, he's like, finally, we're gonna reveal ourselves. Like he's like,
Yeah.
we've been
like
waiting for this.
how many times do you think the Jedi were like,
Yeah, it's like,
Exactly.
yeah, oh my
Exactly.
God.
like how many setups were there, right?
It's on repeat.
Right?
Yeah.
It's on repeat.
You just gotta, and at some point during this whole cycle, yes, it would be awesome to see Palpatine maybe discover that Plagueis has been hiding the Sith cult, right? Because that would be something only the Master might know, is where
there's
the
hundreds of them down there.
followers are hiding.
They're just down there, Matt. They're down there. They're just like
Right.
And
sitting still.
And
They got
not for
pinball machines
nothing,
and
like,
Statues.
and not for nothing in the
They're like
same.
the Chinese in the archaeology down the bottom of the sea. They're just sitting there and just like in statue mode all the way around.
Yeah, I mean, look, it would be awesome if Plagueis knew where all the Sith followers were, right? No Sith, no using the Force, right? But you're worshiping my godness, basically.
Bro, I'm so sweaty right now.
I know, I can see your forehead.
Like,
I
hear
can
me
see
out,
the
bro.
wheels turning in his head right now. Look,
Because I got another one for you too. Like,
go ahead.
this is Disney, bro. I don't think people are. I think people are underestimating their ability now that we have an established Disney canon and they have seen fans' reactions and they know what they didn't like, know what they're gonna like. What if this show really shows us the path that was protecting the Sith the whole time? That cult is everywhere. We have other groups like the Acolytes of the Beyond. We've met them in the trilogy of books Aftermath. Their sole purpose of these acolytes, however crazy it was, batshit crazy, was to find Sith lightsabers and return them to their masters in death.
It's dope.
There is Sith shit going on we don't know about.
So
But
excited.
that's what this show can totally light.
How were they so hidden? How did the Jedi never know?
Because you bait, dude. You got to give them you got to throw them
They
a
had to
bone.
have had help.
Well,
They
that's,
also
that's
Well,
where
and
you
see,
start
that
to
could come
see
into
those
play.
dark side powers,
Well, but
right?
see,
Like
and I want to
True.
see
dark shroud
True.
and things like that, right?
I
Yeah.
want to, but with
I
that,
gotta see that
want
power.
to see
I gotta see it.
negotiations
Mhm.
between. Here's something that would be a lot of fun and super fucked up. I would love to see a moment of like neutrality and like negotiation between a Sith and a Jedi on the council, right? Like plotting the moves through this, like, oh hey, there's this Sith on this planet. You guys should go catch a W and stay off my bait. Like, because everybody's corruptible. And Yoda's the only one that survives everything. So like I would like
that's
to
the
see,
other thing. He's gonna be in the show. You guys know
yeah,
that.
that's what I'm saying. Either he's got to
know that Yoda
discover
will be here.
he's got to discover the spy within the Jedi ranks that's having these conversations with Plagueis potentially, or Plagueis's master, or somebody in that realm. And maybe that's how Yoda gets his W's to get on the council, is that he's fed Sith constantly and he's using that to get himself up there. Because I'm sorry, I like Yoda. Yoda's got some shade. You don't live 1,000 years without some shade. I'm sorry.
You fooled me once. You just can't get fooled again.
He's the only little guy that survived 2 Sith incursions. I'm just saying.
Literally, dude.
Right? So I mean, the second time might have been a legit escape job, but the first one might have been like,
hey man, we're coming to the temple. You might want to be off-world that day.
Yeah. Super sus.
right? Like,
Yeah.
you may want to be off world that day. We're coming with some heat, and maybe that's why Yoda knows of Malachor.
Or it's really just got to show us how powerful the dark side was, that it clouded all the Jedi.
Well,
Yoda
that's the thing.
included.
Like, even like what Stanley said there, it's like not only does the dark side cloud others' visions, but the Jedi's own arrogance blinded them. Like they just the Jedi were very, or at least the ones high up on like council and everything, were very full of themselves and
Oh, they a bunch of elitist buttholes is what they are. You could call it, you could say it like that bus driving bitch Mace Windu. We know what kind of guys they let on the council. Some
Dude,
people
and,
that throw their homeboys under the bus. We know all about it.
the villains of the books that they first introduced in the High Republic, there's like arcane technology they're using against the Jedi. It's like stuff that shouldn't work. They've got a Jedi captive on their ship, right? They've got maybe a dozen, 20, 30, they don't really specify, captive prisoners being tortured. So the suffering in their minds multiplied by the amount of people on the ship together is enough to prevent this Jedi from using the Force at all. That's
Damn,
arcane tech.
is
That's
that
not
like the Morty
metachlorians.
shield?
That's humans being able to literally stop Superman in his tracks like kryptonite.
Damn, that's like when they used a bunch of like torturing Mortys to hide a Rick, dude. That's some deep horrific shit right there.
Yeah,
the
we're gonna
power
see-
of pain and suffering, it fuels so much. I mean, look, Empire Strikes Back. Vader
all alive,
tortures the crap out of Han Solo just to basically send a message through the Force to Luke to be like, we're over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a crazy I mean, and that's what I want to see in Acolyte. I want to see the messed up versions of Master, right? Because we've seen the Jedi have their own twisted, version of doing things. They got their own way, but how twisted are the Sith not having the rules and the ethics bind you?
I want to see if these Jedi are broken down the same way Anakin was. Love, loyalty. Like, what is the thing that they tear from them? What do they is it a save my loved one type situation? Is it a save my life? I want eternal life, What is the thing that corrupts them?
Is Palpatine a unicorn? In the fact that he is not a former Jedi turned Sith, right? Because that was their MO, right? They like to take pre-trained Jedi and twist them and because they didn't have to deal with the poopy diapers, they didn't have to deal with the master, I have to go to the bathroom. Like they didn't have to deal with any of that youngling shit. They wanted a Jedi that could wipe his own ass and protect himself in battle. They didn't want to teach. They just wanted to further instruct, right? To upper grad level, let's say, right? So in that regard, is Palpatine the unicorn? Is Palpatine a unique specimen that he found, much like Anakin, at an age where his Force abilities are unconsciously being used, right? Because that was Anakin's or that was Anakin's thing, right? He could pod race like nobody could pod race, like no human could pod race, because the Force was guiding him, unbeknownst to him. I never get to use that word.
Hobson gave you that one.
Unbeknownst to Anakin, the Force was guiding him in his abilities, right? Palpatine was the same way, I believe, when Plagueis found him. So is he a unique find for the Sith? Is that what makes him so unique? Is that he's already pure evil? They don't have to twist him. He's already fucked in the head.
Yeah, he's just on board from Jump Street and is like,
how to harness that into saber combat and like that's the thing, is that the Acolyte could be Palpatine, right? Like
we don't really know who or what that.
We don't really know, but I'm hoping. I hope this would be amazing.
He hints at like having learned all sides. Like he even says his master taught me the ways of like everything. Like just you need to understand every aspect.
Well, you need to know your enemy if you're going to fight them.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's. I'll tell you, if for anyone out there that whether you've played it or not, and you want to see
much like
how messed up some of the Sith can be, just YouTube all of the cutscenes in chronological order from Star Wars Old Republic, the MMO game. and
Mhm.
watch those CG cutscenes.
Those are great CG cutscenes.
They are
Yeah.
they are phenomenal, but most of
They're
them
still great.
are focused on the dark side. And I'm telling you, like, watch them in order. And you
The one where
literally
the
go
little
from
girl and like her
Oh.
mom training her or whatever.
Yes.
And
Oh my
she's like, "Come
God.
with me," and she just stands
Mhm.
there as the troops run past the kid to take mom. It's
Yeah,
dude.
they are so, and they're what? Like, they're like maybe like 2 to 3 minutes long each, something like that. But
amazing.
they're these short stories that you come out of it and you're like, wow, like these moments. But I'm telling you, anyone who's never watched them, go watch them. All of them.
People who don't know the games, when they see those randomly scrolling, they're like,
Mhm.
is this new content coming out that I don't know about? And no, it's from 2004,
It's so good,
bro.
yeah.
I was in college.
And it's so good.
Like, yeah. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, and I guess that's what is so up in the air about the whole thing, is nobody knows when the show's releasing, right? Nobody knows when it, like, or we know when it's releasing, but nobody knows anything about it,
let me see.
right? And I
Yeah,
think
we don't.
that's what makes it more interesting, is that, you know, everybody is guessing at this point because there's no real, there's been no press, there's been nothing.
There's been nothing.
Nothing.
Is this being promoted for tomorrow as
See what you
a
did there?
teaser or a trailer?
It said trailer tomorrow is what it said on
Okay.
YouTube. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
go ahead and pull
It
that.
says
Isn't it like a
trail-
Good
okay.
Morning America, or am I tripping?
It's supposedly, Matt said it was at at 8 a.m.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Pacific time, 8 a.m., 11 a.m. for
Sometimes they
us
do that.
tomorrow, Scotty, on the East Coast.
Mhm.
But if it's being marketed as a trailer, that's a really good sign because trailers have more to them than a teaser does.
Right.
So I'm thinking we get a minimum of 2 minutes. And for a trailer, that's a
bold statement.
lot.
Darkness Rises. And like,
That's a bold statement. I don't know if we'll get
Mhm.
that.
Like, if it was a teaser, I'd say a minute or less. Like minute 20 if
All
you're
right,
lucky.
here is the
But-
tomorrow. Oh, it just says tomorrow, the Acolyte. That's all
Hmm.
it says on it. A bunch of people say Acolyte trailer, but it could be a teaser. But this is all they put out.
That's all we got. Yeah.
That's it.
That's blood.
That is
dude, I do like the parallel that KG just mentioned about this, the line "Darkness rises and light to meet it." In an
Mhm.
age of light, a darkness rises. Like, it's the opposite.
Bringing that. Yeah.
where was that?
It's there's just the Snoke quote.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, the lightsaber's cool. It looks, I mean, I'm just saying, it looks kind of shiny. We know who liked themselves some shiny red lightsabers. That Palpy liked himself some shiny red lightsabers.
Mhm.
That looks mighty shiny, and it's red, but it's red.
I mean, well, I mean, it's blood splattered on it. I mean,
but I'm
that's
saying, like, look how
brutal.
shiny it is. We all know that Palpy likes some shiny.
Yeah, yeah.
You
You know what that reminds me of? You remember that? What book was that? Where the cover was a bloodied stormtrooper helmet on like a pike. I forget what that was, or was it a book, or was that a short?
Oh, I
was
thought that was the. I mean,
that
wasn't that like a Mandalorian poster?
I thought it was something. There was something with a bloodied stormtrooper helmet, but that was like the last time I remember there being blood in a Star Wars thing. Oh, we lost Scotty.
Yeah, we lost it. I think he because he froze for a minute, so that's when I was like, oh, he might have lost him. Yeah, I mean, the thing is that there's no press, there's no media, there's no nothing. You know, there's just a lot of up in the air. Nobody knows. So I'm curious. It has me curious. I'm excited for tomorrow. I mean, we'll do something in the morning, kind of watch along. We'll see what happens. I love that Patty's back. I think it's going to be a good idea to bring in some. Like I said, I worry at the same time because Star Wars without lightsabers, people tend to pew pew on just the pew pews. So I mean, it has me worried a little bit because, was that Boba Fett outside of Mos Eisley? Maybe. Might have been. No, I thought it was Mando. I thought that scene with the stormtroopers
Well,
on the
there was a scene where they were on the pikes, but there was literally like cover art of something. I thought it was a book. Maybe it was a short film, but it's just a bloodied stormtrooper helmet, and it was one of the most brutal things I've ever seen coming from Star Wars. And then now seeing that poster where it's literally splattered blood on the lightsaber and the trail off of it to like mimic the blade. I mean, people are like, "Oh, Disney won't do anything dark. They won't do anything dark."
Yeah,
I'm like,
those
look
days
at this
are over.
freaking poster. I mean, that's somebody got murdered right there.
Yeah, I think those days are over. I think the days of people saying that Disney won't go in that direction. I think that ship is all but sailed, because this is going to be a darker tone.
Mm.
And again, Star Wars has been on the ragged edge as it is. I mean, you think about cutting people in half in the last season of Boba Fett, in that season of Boba Fett, and then a head being delivered for a bounty. There, and seeing the blood dripping, even though lightsabers wouldn't have blood coming from, but whatever, everyone makes mistakes. Yeah, I think they've already crossed that line.
Yeah.
I think they've already crossed that line. I think this is just going to actually show the blood, not just a cauterized or a bag of blood. But I think we're just going to have to wait and see. But I'm hoping that it's more graphic novel, more, than comic book, I guess, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I think this gets a lot more serious than we've seen in the past, and darker. I think this will have a mature rating to it. It's, they'll put all their warnings.
Question. Are we going to get are we going to get the warning caution at the beginning? Damn, his computer crashing, girl. Are we going to get the warning at the beginning of the show? This may contain, if your children don't, if your children, are we going to get that kind of advisory?
Like that meme.
Show, because it's going to be bloody. Yeah, right.
That's what happens when you forget about 0 BBY.
That's it.
So the blood. How much do you got to piss someone off
that your computer fuses again?
Oh no.
Yeah, it might be TVMA.
We lost you there.
There you are.
I don't know if you heard any of that.
Yes, no, we didn't.
We lost you at pisses off.
We lost you at piss off.
You lost me right at the punchline.
Yeah, apparently.
Okay, so what do you got to do to piss somebody off where they just disengage the lightsaber and beat you to death with it?
I mean, we
just
might
saying.
get that moment.
I'm just saying.
And that's just it. Like, if it is,
it's a blunt object.
I mean, that is
saying no blood. Just turn it off and yeah.
I like it. I like it. I mean, either that or does your power cell go out and you're like, I gotta hit him with something. What do I got to hit him with? I'm sick. Get my lightsaber. I just beat him to death with it.
Yeah, it's still got to be pretty hot at the end too, right?
I mean, maybe.
Did you guys grill the High Republic people in here about the lightsabers? This look familiar? I didn't find anything on the internet. I looked for an hour.
It just reminds me of Palpy's shiny lightsabers. That's all
I could see that. I don't know whose that's supposed to be.
I don't know. It doesn't look like Palpy's lightsaber that we see in Clone Wars or anything like that. So
they literally just gave us the tip.
Here you go, Star Wars fans, just the tip.
Talk about TVMA.
I'm eager to see what they come up with. It should be a lot of fun. I mean, no matter what happens, I think it should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to the show. I mean, Jude Law is the guy in Skeleton Crew. We haven't heard anything about that yet this year. Hopefully towards the end of Acolyte, we will get poster trailers for Skeleton Crew.
That's supposed to be, is that summer release or is that end of the year?
I think Acolyte took the summer release spot, so it's going to have to be end of year.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, June. Yeah, June.
So I think summer took the summer, or Acolyte took the summer spot. So this at the earliest it would be like September. But they gave us it in the middle of Bad Batch. Bad Batch is on fire.
Yeah.
That show has me completely shook. I have no idea which way is up right now. I don't know where they're going. I don't know how they're getting there. I know. Well, I should retract that. I know where they're going. I don't know how they're getting there.
Yeah.
So, I'm hoping we get to see a Master Luminara in the Bad Batch in one of those security vault crates. We still haven't seen the Zillow Beast. We don't, according to the trailer, we're supposed to see it again at some point. So there's a lot of Bad Batch left to come.
Oh yeah.
It's been a fucking banger. I didn't go over a review this week.
Clowning around.
No, I mean, have you guys seen anything that makes you anything in the last episode of Bad Batch that has you even more interested or vested?
I just love seeing the actual group back together, like getting Crosshair back with them, and even though there's tension, you can see how they naturally just flow as a squad.
Yes.
Just like they don't even have to speak and they know what they're doing. And I think that's huge, getting them back together like that. I don't know. It's just, I feel like this whole thing is going to come down to Tantus. Like, I think that's where we're going to be in the finale. And whatever happens there, big rebellion or whatever happens there, I think the big bad happens there. And then, but man, I'm concerned about how we end off with Omega.
Yes.
Because I want her moment to be meaningful and I want it to have a lasting impact. I don't want her to feel wasted, if for lack of a better term, you know what I mean? Like, I want this build to truly mean something. And I think I'm just in my head, I might be putting too much pressure on that for myself. But that's my biggest worry. I'm like, I need that payoff. And I need the Ahsoka equivalent. Like, because I was one of the people when Ahsoka first showed up. I was like, I don't know about this.
Yeah.
And then and then all of a sudden she's one of my favorite characters ever. And Omega has really grown on me. And I'm like, okay, I want to have
Is this the final season?
Yeah.
Yes, this is final season. So that's why I'm so worried.
Well, I mean, the thing I think is inevitable at this point, because they're setting it up so hard, is the Clone Rebellion. I mean, they are teeing that up so high that it's a softball. It's a mush ball. I mean, literally they're setting it up so easy for this Clone Rebellion is coming on Tantus, right? They're gathering all the clones that they can find to go free their brothers and show everybody what's going on Tantus. And I mean, we haven't seen Cody. We don't know where Cody is.
Yeah.
We get Crosshair back. Crosshairs, I don't want to say clones. Crosshair copies are this mysterious shadow organization led by Scorch, which you mentioned.
Is that what they are?
They're just a shadow clones. They're reprogrammed. They take them and they're reprogramming them.
Oh, but were you thinking like they took like DNA from?
No,
Crosshair?
I'm just saying they're reprogramming them to be like Crosshair. Because if you look at them, they look just like him.
I mean, we're gonna get a reveal of the one that survived. I think they're setting that up to be someone.
I think that's a rope-a-dope. I think they're just cloned. I think it's what they're doing on Tantus. They're reprogramming clones to just be assassins. You're expendable. Like, we don't need you. You're completely
who's a clone that like we lost? Like, could that be?
Yeah,
I'm trying to remember how certain ones went. Like, could that be Fives? Could that be Echo? Could that be
Fives is dead?
Because there's precursors to the Death Troopers happening now too, right?
Yes.
Like they're parting out clones and like making the super soldier type of shit too in the background.
Oh, could you imagine them being the start of the Dark Troopers?
Yeah, that's kind of how I
mean,
they are the anomalies, you know, they are the outliers, they are the clones they made that had superpowers, for lack of a better word.
Well, remember how the Death Troopers sounded different too? Like they sounded creepy.
and you mentioned it because you watch with the closed captioning that Scorch is in charge of Tantus security.
Yeah,
Right.
he's running that.
So, you know,
I think that's the clones in. That's their Trojan horse.
what's that? The
I think
Delta?
that Scorch could be like a double agent type thing. Their way into the inside.
Yeah, because they after Republic Commando, there actually was a sequel to that game. I don't know if you guys know that. It was on mobile, and it was a very crappy game, but it does continue the story where you find out that they do capture the group, the surviving members of the group. They turn them, and they're back to the Empire, and they start fulfilling Order 66. And that sequel game, you're hunting Jedi as Delta Squad. And it was such a wasted opportunity because that could have been amazing, but it was like on one of those weird mobile devices that came and went, and you'll never get it again. But to see them in the show being utilized like that, like going into it, and I knew that story, I was like, this is perfect. This makes perfect sense. I know how they got here.
Right.
And to see Scorch running that, man, it was so cool.
Well, and that's just it. Wolf, Wolf being there, this whole arc that we were thinking that Wolf was going to get rescued, right? That Wolf needed to be rescued in some fashion, but Wolf is a loyalist. And I guess this goes back to him ratting out Kanan and Ezra and Rebels, is that he was following the orders of the Empire post 66, unlike Cody, unlike Rex, unlike Hauser, unlike Mayday. He was a good soldier following orders. Now he still has an inhibitor chip. So is his inhibitor chip still making him follow orders? Do the guys end up having to kidnap him, remove his chip? But again, that's also the side his eye augment is on. Right. So did the eye augmentation affect his inhibitor chip, and he's actually doing it on his own? Right. So there's that story arc is so exciting to me because I always thought he was rescued and like he was damaged, and they so I'm curious if he gets ratted out and ends up on Tantus in a cell because the Delta rats him out. Right. So the whole Wolf story, I think, is interesting. I'm really digging how they're doing it. But if they're going to give me a clone uprising and show us how the clones get retired, you better step it up a notch because you're running out of episodes.
Well, here's my theory on how they do that. I think that Tantus, we've confirmed, is pretty much, they call it Project Necromancer. So it is Palpatine's first attempts at cloning a Force sensitive. I just think it would be really cool if it was the Bad Batch that forced the operations to move to Exegol. We could even see Palpatine. 100%. We could even see Palpatine flee there for the time being at the end of this to reestablish himself, come back into the Senate, whatever else he does. But we've seen only hints of other things in Mandalorian, these other little outposts. So something's going to lead him to moving the mainstay of everything out there and creating Snoke. I don't know.
Do you feel like, and this is just me playing devil's advocate, do you feel like this technology will be lost for a moment and that Gideon is the one finding the pieces and putting it back together in Mando, leading to the sequels? So like for me, it just seems like I would like to see a Gideon at some point in this show, a young Gideon.
I like that.
Maybe taking the cloning as far as they got in the cloning, maybe take a data stick and take some of it as much as he can before Exegol is destroyed, or before Tantus is destroyed. And that's why he's on the cloning facility realm when we see him, even though he's doing it for himself. But that could be
how far along are they now? They don't have
any clones yet because they don't have Omega.
So I think Gideon comes into play sometime after they've moved out to Exegol, because that doctor is getting all these little like clues and hints of where to go, and there's all this espionage stuff and
Pershing.
Yeah, and
Yeah, Dr.
Palpatine
Cushing, yeah.
completely removed himself at that point from it because they
Yeah,
only
because we
need,
still
like,
have
the
all that.
key.
We got a lot of time until
There's a
then. We
lot
got
of time.
all of the
Well-
original trilogy, the whole Andor period, all that stuff.
Oh yeah,
happened.
there's a good 19 years from now before we even get to the end of the rebellion, right?
Refresh my memory in Mando when they go to that like mountainside facility and they start destroying the Imperials there start destroying the work. Was that Tantus?
No,
That wasn't Tantus, right? It
Nope.
was similar though. It was like that
right.
a similar facility because as soon as they
You're talking
came
about the one on
raiding in
Mandalore? Oh no, you were talking about
No, the one in the
Navarro.
show.
The
in
one
the
on
show
Navarro.
because they come in and the scientists are there and they're like destroy everything and they
No,
start wiping out all the
that's
stuff.
Navarro. So that's
That
one
was
of
Navarro.
Gideon-
Okay.
that's one of Gideon's outposts.
So
Mm.
that actually
And
might.
that's why he was there when
Say
Din Djarin, like he was in charge of Gideon was always in charge of Navarro because he was in charge of the Imperial presence that was there. So
You know
he
what's
was-
crazy is they never really confirmed if any of that was attached to Palpatine's plans. That fucking body, bro. Gideon could have just taken that and used that to clone himself.
That's what I'm saying. He stole
Like
he
that
could've-
could be completely.
That's what I want to see. I want to see him
Yeah.
steal the technology.
That is
Mm.
cool.
I
That
want to
is
see him steal the technology in the show, maybe at the end, maybe
just a
post
vial, even
just a
has
vial, a
Omega's
data
blood
stick,
because he's that smart.
a data
Mhm.
stick and a vial of the linked blood of what is the word that I'm looking for? The when they bind the bound the oh, I could see it in my head. Genetic
Sequencing?
no,
Is that what you're talking about?
it's when you combine DNA.
Splicing.
Thank
Splicing.
you.
Yeah,
Genetically
yeah.
spliced between Omega's blood and Force sensitive blood.
Yeah.
Either take that in a data stick so he's got something because he needs years to complete this. You're
Mhm.
talking about 15, 20 years before he's even able to clone himself in Mando, right? I mean, 25 years easily. But a young Gideon taking as an Imperial officer, taking a science officer, taking that, or just taking Omega outright.
Yeah.
Mm.
And she's never seen again.
Yeah,
But
man.
I would like to see a Gideon maybe steal some stuff because he's like, I want to clone myself with the Force. Fuck yeah. Right. And then that starts the whole Mando trend. You think it's for Palpatine, but it's never for Palpatine. It's always for himself. Right. The Palpatine crew was Hux's dad. They were on the Necromancer crew. They wanted all his cloning technology and he wouldn't give it to him. So it would be awesome if we saw a young Gideon stealing some stuff for himself.
Yeah, that would be really cool. Starting that Shadow Council.
At least giving himself a position of power, right?
Yeah.
Like at least putting himself at the table that no one knows that he's got his own little facility off to the side, or he just saves it, right? And puts it somewhere safe so that when the time is right and the technology is there, he can clone himself. There's so much opportunity in the show, but there's things that would be brilliant to just show us a flash of a young Gideon in the background. I don't want to see him in the foreground as a character. I want to see a young Gideon officer just in the back of Nala Se's lab, like
Just carrying vials of blood around.
yeah, and data
Puts one in his pocket.
That's it. You don't even notice it if you're not looking. But guys like us that watched it a million times are like, oh, he just put in his pocket, right? Like that would be a stroke of genius, right? Like he would get Filoni would get the Bud Light Award for real man of genius, right?
Yeah.
Real
materials of genius.
Here's to you, Dave Filoni. Right? Like that's
You retcon your own content and made it better.
and nobody cares.
And nobody cares.
We gotta bring back those commercials.
Dude, I love the Real Man of Genius commercials are some of my favorite commercials ever. But yeah, I mean, look, there's so much opportunity in the finishing of the show, but there's so many things I feel like they have to get us to. You have to show us Cody dying. You have to show, or maybe Cody sacrificing himself for the boys. Something that gets us to Rebels, to Rex's in Rebels, to Wolf, to Gregor, those three surviving. We got to see that at the end of this show. Otherwise, I feel it's a bust to even have Rex and those guys in this show. So I have tiny expectations. I don't usually expect a lot from the content. I have tiny expectations of this show, and I would be a little disappointed if they didn't cross a couple of those boxes off of the old checklist to get us forward.
And we're so close to the end that they're running out of time.
That's what I'm saying.
fit
They're
these
running
things
out.
in.
I think the rest of the season. I think that's why they gave us those 2 episodes together this last week, because I think they put the quotations. It happened.
What was that?
I don't know if it's an Apple thing or if it's a
Everyone
StreamYard thing, but if you do quotations, sometimes the party bubbles come up. I don't know why. I think it's an Apple thing. I think if I'm like that anyway. But if you got to get us there. For me, there's a couple of things you got to get us there. If this is the end of this show, I mean, shit. Think about it. Those last 2 episodes were probably the end of the filler. Because at this point, we got to see Asajj, we got to see the clone uprising, we got to see the end of this whole Tantus thing.
How many do we have left?
Oh,
I have no
I'm glad
idea.
that you brought her up. I'm glad that you mentioned her and stuff because I feel like this is we'll call it another big prediction. I feel like this show has to set up something else for animation. So why not set up the Jedi path, how the survivors are doing it?
I think they are. I think with Asajj,
Quinlan Boss got to show up at some point.
Well, I think with Asajj being in the show, with them outright saying that Aftermath, was it Aftermath, or what was
Next
the
animated series?
What was the clone? What was the Asajj Quinlan book? Was it
Dark Disciple?
Disciple. Thank you.
Yeah.
They said it didn't really interfere with Dark Disciple too much. So in that regard, we could see an Asajj and a Quinlan together at this point that are starting the path. I mean, Omega could be the first customer, and Omega could have been hidden first. Yeah, maybe she's gone by the time we see, the path later in the shows down the road. But it would be interesting to see her be the first that Quinlan and Asajj try to get to Sanctuary.
And the era
How cool
of
would it be if she had her white armor when we see her as an adult and she'd been the leader of the path all these years?
I'm not like celebrating the tears of other fans, but we're running out of real estate in the OT for all of the canon that is on the surface.
Yes.
So we need to go underground. We need to go to other galaxies. We need to go to unknown regions.
Or they need to be mentioned at least.
Yeah. So I feel like
be mentioned by name. Yes.
the focus should definitely 100% be Omega as a new character, Quinlan if he's around, Asajj. Some surviving Order 99, keep them in there. I mean,
you got to figure
be their own little crew.
You got to figure at this point, Asajj is a bounty hunter. She's not a Jedi. She's not a Sith. So at this point, bounty hunters are on alert. So we could see Boba. We could see Bosk. We could see Dengar. We could see an array of bounty hunters in this next couple episodes. Finnick. Right, we expect to see.
Isn't she in the trailer?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So the bounty hunter episode is coming up because our buddy with the weird hand that we still don't know why his hand is fucking weird. Hemlock.
This show could dial up. This show could turn up to 100.
Dial up. I'm convinced that's why they gave us the last 2 episodes. Hey, you showed up. Good. I wanted to talk about Squadrons. I'm glad you showed up. I wanted to talk about Squadrons and Battlefront. Have you played any Battlefront yet?
Hello, lovelies.
Have you played any Battlefront yet?
Man, this is a bit of the old gangs back together a little bit,
Well, I figured, with Leslie's show coming or movie coming back, and you were big on the Squadrons hype, on the Rogue Squadron hype, so she's coming back.
Wait, Patty Jenkins is coming back for it?
Yeah, dude.
I've been so removed from the Star Wars zeitgeist with the baby.
Here's the article. I saved it just for you because I sent you the invite hoping that you would come because I know how big you were on Patty's movie.
The Patty thing was a big thing for me.
I saved this article all day in case you showed up. So this is from Collider.
Okay.
This is Patty Jenkins claims she's back to work on Rogue Squadron. So basically,
how does the panel feel? Like, are we putting any weight in this from Collider? Do we think?
Yeah, because Wonder Woman 3 got canceled.
Yeah.
So because Wonder Woman 3 was the reason that she was leaving, that she had conflicts. This is I hold a lot of weight to this because she wanted to do this really bad. So
I know
according
they
to
had,
what-
dude. This was like the only thing we got, like a pre-rendered X-wing and like
Right.
all this different stuff. I was hyped.
I think that's why she had a meeting with Disney and with Star Wars and Lucasfilm about this, because they put so much investment into the early stages before she left. They already had some idea of what they wanted to do, and they already had some previs done. So, according to Collider, in a stunning turn of events, Patty Jenkins has claimed that she has signed a new deal with Lucasfilm and Disney to return to work as the writer and director of the Rogue Squadron movie, which was agreed just prior to the summer strikes. Jenkins, who left the role in order to make Wonder Woman 3, told host Ben, I'm not going to mess up his name, on TMZ Max podcast, Trading Pictures, that she signed an agreement to return to the galaxy far, far away. For their part, Disney has provided no further updates on the project since it was pulled earlier in the calendar year. And then it goes into what Rogue Squadron was going to be. So,
Mankiewicz? I figured I'd give it a shot. It seems close. Mankiewicz?
I mean, you know, it
could be.
It will. Yeah, I mean, I'm not even going to try. I'll mess it up. Look, I'm down for this. I love the idea of Patty coming back to do this show. I think, you know, I hope it doesn't get the Andorian treatment, that it doesn't have lightsabers, that it's just pew pews and people don't like it. But again, it's Patty. How could
it was hardcore sold as very much like a Top Gun-esque
right
kind of thing, which I am super down for.
Right.
You know, if you're gonna do a show in the Star Wars universe that's not lightsabers and pew pew in the Force, like it better be something like Top Gun.
Right.
I want to see Wedge Antilles back in there. I want to see some legacy characters teaching. You know, well, I was at the Battle of the Death Star. I was at the second Death Star. You know, by the way, Wedge is the only one that was at both, that landed shots on both. So, you know, I'm just saying.
Yeah, and that's just it. I think that her returning to do this, being as her other obligation canceled, they have already done a lot of work together. They already know this, where she wants to go with this, so she can get back to her writing room and finish a script she already started. You know,
dude, I think the only way that this shit works is if they back up a truckload of money and just dump it into the budget. This budget needs to be like 300 million. I don't even care, bro.
It's
like
it's
this
gonna be
shit
all
needs
space
to
battle.
be insane.
Yeah. It's either got to have like a ridiculously strong script that keeps up the slow parts of them talking in the hangar, and there's enough character development that they can actually do that stuff, like in Andor, when we had the moment between oh my god, what's his name? Had the cool laser on the ship. He's the Baron in Dune 2.
Luthien. Yeah.
So Luthien and Andor, like that kind of dialogue, that really dark, serious dialogue, to carry those moments when you're not in space battles, so that when you got to throw that money at it, you know, it's going to be incredible for those space scenes. But having said that, as much as I hate how they've done space battles, you got to admit, even for like Ahsoka, for all of its faults, a lot of the stuff that they did in the space battles, it looked good. Whether you like what they did or not, it looked pretty.
Yo, and KG's right. She said, but Disney's pinching pennies. Yeah, we can just take all of Marvel's money now.
Well, they're pinching pennies in that they're getting rid of the app, right? Like getting rid of the app and sending it. You're not paying all that server fee. Hulu's already got servers. Pinching pennies, you're cutting costs to make more money. What up, Dan?
What up? What up? What up?
How's it going, dude?
Oh man, I'm just now finding the link in the Discord chat.
That's okay. Okay. Everybody can be late. There's no worries. Yeah, dude.
He only spends it 5 hours.
We were just talking about Patty, bro, and how excited this Top Gun Star Wars shit could be just amazing, right? Like,
you guys been ripping for 2.5 hours already.
Yeah, dude.
Good on ya.
Yeah, Maria was here for about an hour. She's like, I'm only going to stay 15 minutes. It's like an hour later.
No, come on. I know Maria.
But you know what just happened to me is, you know, we're going this long. It's like, oh, you know what? When we wrap up, I'm going to go to bed. I'll get some rest. And then freaking Battlefront just got a 15 gig patch.
Be up all night.
I saw that.
I'm going to be up all night.
I haven't played it yet, mainly because I wanted to wait. So I was like, I'm going to pre-order this. And then I'm like, wait, I remember what's happened with every single pre-order that I've done over the past 2 years. I'm not going to pre-order it. I'm going to wait a couple days because I already have a truckload of memories of this game. If it's really bad, I don't want to mess it up. You know what I mean? And I waited, and sure as schnitzel, everybody's like, dude, are you kidding me? Like, the biggest thing that bummed me, I'm the audio guy, the freaking loading screen. They changed the
Yeah, it's a single tone instead of
They changed the pitch. Like,
it's
so
weird.
easy.
It's such a dumb change too,
Dude,
right?
I'll tell
Yeah.
you though,
It's such
I've been playing on 3 different platforms since 12:01 a.m. when it launched.
Yeah,
And
dude. All you see is Matt Cave Gaming playing Battlefront.
I have a little bit of a problem.
Is it running okay for you?
I've had no problems.
Really?
I've had minor issues, and I even live streamed it on launch day. And I was like,
I
"Look,
saw you
it's
put up
working."
you put up a tweet. You have a dedicated server, right?
I keep putting it up throughout the day, so
Yeah.
people have a place
Well,
to go.
and
The problems that you'll have is that it runs about just as well as it did run when it came out the first time.
yeah, it
So-
has,
I don't
it
know.
has the same issues. The same.
There was a
weird
couple
issues.
of the same issues, but
Yeah.
overall, though, I am in love with it. I've had
it's the
so
same
much
game.
fun.
It is the
He spent
same.
26 hours on PC alone.
Yeah.
Like,
And it's
And then I
one
got
and
on
two,
PS5 and
correct?
Switch too.
yeah, it's both.
Yeah, 1 and 2
Yeah.
together.
Okay.
And there's I'm hoping part of this patch fixes the single player, because I don't know how they messed this up. Do you remember when you'd beat a mission, the one with the 501st diaries? You'd beat the mission and there would be another diary cutscene telling
Yeah.
you the aftermath of it.
Yeah.
All of the post cutscenes were missing.
Well, that ruins it. I mean, the
literally
the
half
Tim
the story.
Morrison stuff was the best
Yeah.
part.
Right.
Yeah.
We spent
So-
7 days on Fallujah. You're like,
Hopefully they
oh
back
yeah,
up.
this is great.
Dude,
Dude,
oh.
you're gonna have a great time. I know you've been getting your million views on your Helldiver video. So that
Isn't that
short,
crazy?
dude, that short was funny though.
I was sitting in the hospital. I was bored. I was waiting for my wife. She was in labor. I'm like sitting there, and she hadn't like gotten there yet, so they gave her, like the epidural, and she's sitting there, and she's like passed out, and I'm like, well, what the hell am I gonna do? I'm like, oh, I'll make a short about Helldivers because damn, I want to play right now. And I was like, oh, okay, so what is it? I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, oh, dude, yeah, Terminator 2: The Future War.
Right.
That's what it's like on Malevelon Creek. That's what it's like. And just one of those random things, dude. It just blew up for no damn reason. But
Well, I mean, Helldivers is a huge game right now. I mean, anybody that's
Yeah.
streaming Helldivers is getting views on views on views because I just can't do it. I tried. It's just so fucking boring.
did you play on Helldiver?
Yeah. I
Yeah?
get so bored. I'm like,
Interesting.
machines, bugs. Can I at least be the bugs or the machines? Like, do I have to be this?
Mhm.
That's
guy?
not the point. Right now, I think the reason it's so popular isn't because of the gameplay, which personally I love. I'm a huge fan. So like way back in the day, there used to be this game. I think it was called Mercenaries. It was on the PlayStation. There was Mercenaries and a game called Lost
Planet.
Planet.
Starship
Lost
Troopers?
Planet.
Yeah,
Lost Planet.
Lost
Yeah.
Planet. And it just feels like a blend
Yeah.
between like Mercenaries and Lost Planet. And so like the nostalgia for me, I feel like I'm playing a PlayStation 2 game, like a very early PlayStation 2 game.
Or maybe that's why it just feels clunky.
God, it feels it's wonderful to me. I adore it.
Dude,
And I
watch
love it.
You guys play with you in the squad that's always on your Discord. Like that's the most
Yeah.
active I've seen your Discord VC is like this game is like on fire.
That's all
So
we
there's
do.
constantly 2 or 3 people in there playing. It's fire, but I just found it so boring. Maybe it's more fun with
I
friends.
love it. I don't
fun.
know. I love it because part of it feels like I'm playing Starship Troopers because the Starship Troopers game came out. I don't know if
Yeah,
I mean, Matt Cave, you and I played it together, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it was fun, but it was like,
Yeah.
that's boring. Like I was done in like 15 minutes. I was like, okay. all
Now,
right, we're done.
Helldivers it's all about getting a squad together for it. Like that's where the real fun
Yeah,
is.
and
It's
I think
couch,
that's
it's
what it
couch
is.
play.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. I haven't played with very many people, so it hasn't been. I just got real fucking bored.
If you do
I
it
mean,
by
I went
yourself,
in-
it's one of the worst games you
It's
could
so
ever play by
boring, dude.
yourself. Yeah.
It was so.
I went in there as the volunteer meat shield when I squatted up with X-Wing and his crew because I was like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
At one point, I was supposed to call in the I think I was supposed to call in our reinforcements, but
Mhm.
instead I accidentally called in an orbital strike.
Yeah.
And I just bombed the crap out of
I mean, it happens. We live and we learn. You know what I mean?
Captain Medic!
Yeah.
That's all I see when I see that game and people playing. I'm just seeing medic. Like that's all I see in my head is Starship Troopers. It's hilarious.
I'm loving I'm really loving the culture around it. I'm loving that the player base is creating lore around the war. I think that's the most fun part. And then the funny things that they do from Arrowhead that just like they reinforce it further. They're like, oh yeah, by the way, the reason that you're having so much trouble, it's one dickhead. His name's Joel. He's in charge of all of this. And everybody's like, screw you, Joel. You suck, Joel.
Yeah, it's amazing. I saw your 1 million. I saw it on Twitter. Your 1 million. You're like, how did I break the internet? And so I was like, what is he talking about? And I was like, that's great. You got 1 million views on a short, dude. That's exactly what it should be.
It's the worst thing you can do for your channel.
Oh, whatever.
It's such fake growth. Like it counts for nothing.
It's such fake growth, but it's growth.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
Awesome.
You're at 28,000 subscribers. I think your growth is just linear at this point. It's just
trust me. Like if you ever want to keep a YouTube channel, don't have a kid and take time off.
No, yes,
it's the worst thing you can do. So if you pick one, be a father or like Matt Cave is like a unicorn.
But his kids are grown, right? They walk and talk and
is
themselves. Like they don't have to. You don't have to wipe their puppies, right?
I'm just waiting for them to take over for me.
Yeah.
You don't have to wipe diapers and stuff like that. Like you're in the 24/7 caring for a life. Like they kind of care for themselves.
Matt Cave is just waiting to cannibalize all of our game systems into the retro. He's like, someday your games will be mine too.
It's all mine. He's an automaton, bro.
Dan, how's your movie? Dan, how's your project?
Dude, it's still trucking along.
Yeah.
This Friday, we're supposed to turn in the latest draft and then start shopping that bitch around.
Attaboy.
Looking at, I'm reaching out to PBR and getting them to sponsor us. So when we reach
professional bull riding,
yeah.
Dan's writing.
Talk to me, Goose.
Dan's written a bull riding.
Yes, the show is centered on the sport itself.
And you didn't talk to me.
What?
I rode professional college circuit, man. I could have been a great asset for you.
What the hell, man?
They're not in production yet, dude. You still can. This is what we're about.
I'll be a stunt double. I've been looking to ride, but it's so damn expensive at these places that like they make you like rent a rope and it's $125. I'm like, that's what a rope costs.
God, no. Oh,
what do you need this stupid rope for?
But that's it. So you're
duct tape.
So you're getting there.
Yeah, no, it's happening. Like I said, it's just slow as hell. But we're looking to go We're looking to go into development this year, film the pilot this year, so we can hopefully if Paramount buys it, then it will be ready next year.
Dude, this is incredible. What time frame is it? Is this like 70s rodeo? Is it now? Is it like
1800s and modern day? So we're looking at telling the story. Have you heard of Bill Pickett, the original black bull rider cowboy?
Bill Pickett? No.
So
pretty much the only like old bull rider I know is still just like Lane Frost.
Oh no, dude! So we're telling the story about him and his fictional descendant in our 2024 era, Dante Pickett, and we're doing like two parallel storylines between the past and the present.
That's sick. I'm not gonna cuss here. That's awesome.
No, you can cuss here all you want. We don't care. We don't give a shit.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah,
appreciate you.
I love Bridger TV shows like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dan's been working on this for a while, and so we've been hyping it up, and we've been helping him out, and he knows if he needs anything to holler and let us know. So
you got an AV guy.
Yeah, I keep telling
you got a bull rider here. So,
but it's not just about me. Obsession. How's the Mace Windu thing?
Dude, I got my comic strip guy. We're doing a comic for a shirt that I'm gonna send to Samuel L. Jackson's PR guy.
Let's fucking go.
And you still have to explain the bus obsession.
Okay, so during Tales of the Jedi, right? Tales of the Jedi is Matt loves this. I'm actually doing a PG version for his kids.
I can't wait.
So Mace Windu during the last during the Dooku Mace
when they're on the forest planet,
when they're dealing with the pikes and all that shit, right? And so they go through this whole thing, and the whole time Mace is like, hey dude, chill the fuck out. Like, hey dude, chill the fuck out. Like, yo, this isn't the right way. Chill the fuck out. And what does he do at the end? He narcs out Dooku to get the seat on the council he already knew was coming up. So Dooku was scheduled to be on the council, right? That's why Mace went there to observe him before he was approached about being on the council because Mace already knew the seat was vacant because the one of the council members died. So Mace threw Dooku under the bus to get his seat.
Now it makes sense.
And so Mace took the seat from Dooku. That's why that scene in Geonosis is so much more powerful. When they get to Geonosis and he's like, my old friend. He's like, you're the fucking reason that I started down this dark path because you're a bus driving bitch. And that's where it comes from.
And when we were talking about it, we were quoting the "have a seat" when he was talking to Anakin.
Yeah,
like he's saying the same shit to Dooku right now. Just have a seat on the bus.
An argument can be made that he was already going down that path before.
True. But I mean, if anything, he pushed him over the edge.
Yeah.
I think it was Qui-Gon, honestly.
Like that's why I made the art, because to me, Mace Windu has always been a bit of a bus driving bitch. You know, he's always been kind of a dickhead. So that's where that
whatever I got to do to get there.
But Dan, the artist I'm working with, the guy that does all my art, we're gonna do a 4 or 6 panel little comic short, just a couple of little blips, very little word, and it's gonna be the last frame is going to be Mace in the ground next to Maul with Old Man Kenobi looking over him. One of the panels is going to be Mace Windu electrocuting Kenobi, turning him into old Kenobi from Ewan.
Oh, wow.
So that's that's what I'm trying to get Samuel L. Jackson to bite onto, is like, you get to be like the dark, you get to be the mean guy. You get to be that, get these snakes off my motherfucking plane kind of character. So
you said you were doing a video game too. How's that going?
I'm actually going to start talking to Maria because she just lost a bunch of projects. So I'm going to see if she wants to kind of partner up on this. But with the Apple Pro, the Apple Vision Pro, I just see that market exploding in the next 5 years. Just that technology.
Maria told us that she had EA Respawn contracts that they just released.
Yeah,
she was helping with the Respawn video.
She was helping with a lot of those games run through or around Maria's orbit. So
that's good.
She lost, unfortunately she lost a lot, and she does have some animators. So I know they're expensive by the hour, but that's what you got to crack a few eggs to make some omelets. So I told her, I was like, if you know people who are out of work that are freelance, send them my way. Like, we'll work out a deal. I can maybe help put some food on some people's table, but maybe get some of the projects I have in the back of my head, maybe get some physical media on some of them, like the app to start. So yeah, there's a lot of behind the scenes. The biggest thing coming is Star Wars After Dark. That's those are the biggest projects. Is the Star Wars After Dark on the 16th opening night. Sheev and I are going, so we'll be in the park from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. on the 16th on opening night, and then we will go again on the 2nd of May.
What is Maria's podcast called? Do you know?
After the sequels. After the sequels. But yeah, she, like I said, I mean, that video game exclusivity thing kind of fucks some people up. So we're gonna see if we can maybe take a little advantage of people being out of work and giving them some free time to work on a couple of projects. But yeah, there's a bunch of shit in the works right now. My artist is busy making a couple panels. I'm aggressively pursuing Samuel L. Jackson. Like, I'm honestly
that's so crazy to hear.
On a borderline, like,
I am aggressively pursuing Samuel Jackson.
Yeah, I'm actually on the hunt
at 75. Good for him.
Right now,
it's just a number.
He is filming in my town right now on a limited series, so he is locked up doing that. But if you can fit him in, like, between that, you could make that work.
I know how hard he is pressing right now for a Mace Windu Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
Like, he is on full court press right now, in the media everywhere. Look, bro, I
don't feel the same way about that as I used to.
Yeah, me and him. Yeah.
I know a lot of people don't, but I would like to see. I don't want to see just a Mace Windu show. Like, put him in some Kenobi shit, make him the bad guy, let him die at the end. Let's call it a day.
Why you gotta disrespect my boy like that, though?
All due respect.
The
to
longer it takes, the more batshit crazy it's gonna have to be.
Yeah, I
in my
agree.
opinion.
all due respect to Samuel Jackson, fuck Mace Windu altogether. Bring back Kellerman Beck, okay?
Hey.
That guy needs his own stuff, and he needs.
Oh,
right.
for
That
sure.
should be the fucking Grogu movie. Kellerman Beck and Grogu.
Hell
Fuck
yeah.
Mando and Grogu. They don't do shit for me.
I just like that he's doing more projects right now.
that is
Right.
good.
The fact that these actors that got shit on for so many years during the prequels for just acting that are getting so much love right now between Hayden and Ahmed, they're doing great projects right now, right? So, you know, good on him for getting in a video game to doing gaming mocap and stuff like that. Like, I want to see these actors that got shit on and basically kind of ushered out of the business by hate to be back in the spotlight and to doing great things like that.
Just one more, get Jake Lloyd right,
Dude. Yes.
Well, I mean, did you see all the stuff that just came out for Jake
Yeah.
Lloyd?
Yeah, he went in. He checked into a mental health facility.
Yeah, and his mom was like, "Bro, it wasn't the fans that screwed him up, man. Like he stayed off of social media. It wasn't the fans that screwed him up. It was the panning by the critics that messed him up. And I still think to this day, you know, agree or disagree, I still think that was overall that was the narrative that wound up being the loudest was the critics' reviews of the Phantom Attack of the Clones. It wasn't the fans that but
it wasn't so there was no social media back then. That's the thing. There was none of this back then. So it was the
I mean, there was like message boards, but there wasn't like
but it wasn't anything like that that he was going
you had to find a blog back then. You had to know like the exact URL. You couldn't
it wasn't posted everywhere like Twitter these days, you know.
And like Siskel and Ebert and those kind of critics are the ones that really shit on him and basically, you know, crushed his spirit, right? I mean, he was just a little boy, right? And you treat him like a full-grown man and you know, a lot of bad shit happened.
Even beyond that, there was like an Australian interviewer at a Comic-Con that was interviewing Jake Lloyd, and he was around like my age at this time, and he was just being a dick to him.
Yeah.
Like,
it's unnecessary hate.
Yeah, how do you do that to a kid? Like,
and how do you do that to somebody that was a kid actor? I mean, kid actors already have a hard.
How do you feel about ruining people's childhoods? He's
right.
Like, I'm just started doing mine right now. So,
like Mayim Bialik is one of the few kid actors that has successfully left Hollywood, became a success in their own field, and then decided to come back for more. Right? Like, there's very few child actors that got out of the business and became successful because they were expected to be the character on TV their entire lives, right? Like it's a tough thing for a child actor. And back then there wasn't any of this. Think about how much harder it is now, right? Everybody's putting you on Twitter. So it's crazy, man. It's been I think this is, like I said, I think it's a good time. Star Wars is a good time right now. So we're gonna
it just got better. We got the patch notes.
Hey, it just got better. Matt's gonna be up all night on Battlefront.
I'm reading all the patch notes. I'm like,
it's what he's been doing the last 10 minutes. He's just been reading patch notes.
I'm reading through. Oh, X-Wing, you don't have to wait for getting the game anymore. In the audio patch fixes, they fixed the Battlefront 1 loading screen sound.
There you go. See, listen. The first patch they fixed was the biggest complaint from the fandom.
Oh,
I just so this is how particular Star Wars fans are. I'm like, this is the dumbest thing in the world, and it's so easy to make people happy. But if it's missing, you're bugging the whole thing.
Yeah, that's all it takes. A couple of wrong boops, and people go nuts.
Well,
can I an obsession?
If that's the first thing that you're seeing, right? If that's the first thing you're seeing or hearing, and you're used to seeing or hearing that first, like, of course you're going to say something. Are we talking about your print?
So I just want to show people really quick, because I haven't been completely absent without doing anything else. I've taken up resin printing. Okay.
Fun, right?
So I bought a Hallett Mage resin printer. I'm doing a big Revan tomorrow, so it should be done by tomorrow. But check out how detailed these files are. And the awesome thing about resin versus PLAs, there's going to be no lines.
Yeah.
There's nothing. It comes out smooth as heck. This was I decided to do a Lord of the Rings troll from Minas Tirith.
Nice.
Oh, look at how clean.
Yeah, make it bigger. Make it bigger.
I am.
That was this was my first
that's
print ever.
Mm.
And he's got the armor on too.
Yeah,
The chain,
look at
turn
how
it around. The
gorgeous this
chains on
thing
the
is,
back
dude.
are awesome. Like, look at, you see the chains run all the way around. It's
Yep.
I saw it earlier, and I was like, God damn, that looks great. You may
Yeah.
now I have to get a
Incredible.
resin printer because of that, because I have a PLA and I just, it's such a pain in the balls.
Dude, I'm telling you right now. So there's another project I want to show you. I don't know if it's actually like complete right now, but this particular printer that I have can do perfectly. Displaced in base files. It's not here. It's not here. Damn. So this is the other thing, is learning how to actually use this software and like pull these things up.
Yeah.
But on this print stand alone, you can do a 9-piece lightsaber.
That's
so
cool.
not a solid chunk, but actually all the pieces together.
It
You
just
can
click
do them
together.
all. Yeah, and then all you have to do is get buff and rub silver leaf,
Mhm.
and you can do Luke, you can do Obi-Wan, you can do any of them. You get the buff and rub silver leaf, buff and rub gold leaf, and then if you want to, you could change out the PLA to do, or not the PLA, change out the resin to do like the clear parts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're doing like stage quality props with
Oh,
this
yeah.
stuff.
Oh yeah, dude. The resin stuff is on a whole nother level. When I started on PLA, and I really enjoyed, and I made a lot of stuff for work that's great to prototype out that I want to get molded or I want to get made, so I can just send them my file and they'll make it out of metal. Like that's another thing, is once you get into this and you've perfected files of your own and you're making shit of your own, if you want it made out of metal, you can just send them your file and they'll send you back the pieces.
No way.
Yeah, dude. So
In
aluminum,
metal?
like, yeah, like aluminum. If you want them out of steel and you want them heavy, you can get anything made. You just send them your file and they'll send it back in whatever metal you want it made out of. Like I know a guy that got some titanium pieces for his race car made. He mocked them up, he printed them out, he fit them on the car, and then he sent the file once he was done to the metal manufacturers, and they sent it back in titanium.
So
Because
that's what I would want to do. So here's this is, so these are all of the files for Obi-Wan Saber.
Yeah.
No shit, and it just like piles it right up on the.
Yeah, and you just you can twist it to do them horizontal.
Yeah, you can move them into
and
different spots, or you can, if you want to put that one there and then support it a different way, or if you need to break this one up into like 2 different sections, you can take this piece and you can scale it bigger, you can scale it smaller, you can split it. It's incredible, man.
Yeah, dude. It's the shit you're doing on 3D printers now is amazing. Like anything from your head to concept is doable.
And this thing's just sitting in my office.
Yeah, and they're pretty quiet. I mean, the thing is, some of them run really like take forever. Like some of the projects I know for some of the stuff is like, we'll be done in 36 hours. And you're like, okay, cool. See you tomorrow night.
It depends on the exposure time for the resin. So the one that I have, so now I have this 8K resin, which takes twice as long as other prints. But that resin that I had with the head, the body, the cape, everything like that, it's probably going to be it'll be a 12-inch probably.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, 12-inch when it's all said and done. It'll take 2 print sessions.
Are like 2 inches, most of the parts.
Yeah.
Body and all that.
But that's a 23-hour print.
That's cool.
Oh my God.
But that's at 5-second exposure time.
Right.
But I have another resin that's not 8K, high definition resin.
Yeah.
And that exposure time is 45 seconds for the first layer and then a 2-second per exposure. The HD resin I have is 5 seconds per exposure. So you're more than doubling your amount of time for the actual print itself.
Yeah, dude, it's the printing is a lot of fun. I printed so much stuff with mine, but again, the difference between the resin printers and the other printers is like night
Totally different worlds.
So yeah, I mean, when I pick one up, I'll learn the resin stuff. But right now, I haven't been creating very much, as much as trying to.
I have to make right now. There's not enough to consume. I have to create.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm consuming a lot because we're getting ready for Disney After Dark. That's going to be a fun night of just walking around Disney with less people. So we're going to go scout and do some stuff live from the park. And then on May 2nd, we'll see because we're gonna meet up with Kyle Katan. There's a whole bunch of streamers going on the 2nd of May.
Nice.
Sweet.
So we're gonna try to meet up with as many people as we can. But yeah, I mean, that's what I've been gearing up for the most is After Dark and trying to put these little pieces together. Just having fun, dude. Like,
Nice, man. That's what it's about. I wasn't having fun, so I took a step back. If you're having fun, dive right into it, man.
I invited you on because I know how excited you were for Patty's movie initially. We had hours of conversation, and if you didn't know, that's great, because then, at least it's something to potentially be excited about coming down, that's different and more up your alley. If the story group isn't hitting you, this one should be
that's basically where I'm at. I'm not happy with any of the creators right now. So if we get something from somebody else, it's something to look forward to.
Well, and not only that, if it's outside of the realm of the story that they're telling, if this is just a one-off, a 1 or 2 or however many they can get in with Patty, but if this is just a one standalone movie that's just about fighter pilots and X-Wing.
We need that.
I think that's something that the entire fandom can get behind. That's out of all the stories. Yes, you're going to get your Wedge Antilles. Yes, you're going to get potentially these characters that support the background of the story, but ultimately the X-Wings are going to do all the work for putting us where we are, right? You don't need a Wedge Antilles. You don't need.
Well, beyond that, if it's a standalone movie, 1, we can judge it based on the creator. 2, we're not shoehorned into continuing the story and now continued backlash of like, dude, why are we still doing this? Disney's self-sabotaging. We can look at it and be like, that was incredible, or that was shit. Hey, next project
on its own merit, right? Without attaching it to this, that, or the other. And that's why I invited you on, because it's something that you were hyped for. Aside from it being Star Wars, it was X-Wings. That's what you love. You love.
I like X-Wings. Yeah,
it's
I don't know.
his name.
A little bit. You kind of dig them a little bit. So I figured with that news, I got to at least throw you the bone and invite you to enjoy.
Well, I appreciate you, man. I've got my studio absolutely torn apart right now because I'm remodeling. It's now a YouTube studio, my home office, and a 3D printing thing.
And sometimes a nursery, because I've seen
you. Sometimes a nursery.
I've seen you when you're just in the Discord. And you're like, hold on, baby duty, and you like turn around and like.
I did a live stream the other day, and I had a lily cam on.
Yeah, I know. I
was playing Helldivers, and there was a little lily cam, so I didn't have to look to my right.
Yeah.
The key is when you get her resting just right, like her head right around here by your bicep, and you have the controller. She becomes kind of like she'll keep you stable in certain games. So you're
100%.
You're gonna find a whole new level of precision.
Trust me, I've seen it, I felt it, I love it.
That's fantastic. All right,
guys, I gotta bail out.
Yep, we're gonna jump out of here. Everybody have a good night. As always, do what you do. Be kind to your friends and family. Tell them you love them, because you don't know what tomorrow brings. Don't forget to spay and neuter your pets. Help control the pet population. And we are out of here. Everybody have a good night. May the force be with you.